it's time to Kincade and Salciunas is on the air. Broadcasting live on the Fanatic app and YouTube channel. Here are your hosts, John Kincade and Andrew Salciunas. 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Well, just because the news dropped late in the afternoon yesterday doesn't mean that it doesn't get talked about, right, Johnny? Good morning.
Yes.
Bit of a news dump yesterday. The Philadelphia 76ers decided to part ways with Daryl Morey as the president of basketball operations, and we'll be discussing that all show with you today. Would love to get your reaction. We have some questions that we want to discuss with you at 610-632-0975. That's the number you could text in, call in, voice memo, however you want to be a part of the conversation. We'd love to hear from you because it's another day of reaction. A little bit different. Obviously, the last day of reaction was Monday morning when the Sixers did not arrive. They did arrive to the building, Game 4 at the Xfinity Mobile Arena, but they just didn't play. And they got swept by the New York Knicks, which led to a lot of questions of what's next, what's the future for this team. So this was a decision, John, that they had to make. It's not something that I think is something to go party on Broad Street. I know there were a lot of people on social media celebrating the move. I think it's just a move that had to happen, but there's still a lot of questions of what's next. Like, just because you got rid of Daryl Morey doesn't mean that all of a sudden NBA teams are intrigued in the contract of Joel Embiid and Paul George.
Look,
good morning.
Good morning to you too. Daryl Morey being gone, I'm not going to dance on anybody's grave. Much like when Rob Thompson was gone, I'll applaud what Daryl Morey did well first. I'll lead with that, like with Rob Thompson. Rob Thompson was a great, leader of men as far as just getting people to enjoy coming to work, which a lot of managers can't do. Daryl Morey was a great drafter for the Sixers. That'll go down in history.
Yeah.
A great drafter.
I still remember I brought this up a few times. Listen to our man Johnny Marks, Middays with Marks. This is weeks ago, months ago now, where he was talking about how they should move on from Daryl Morey and build around Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe. And my response was, who got those guys?
Yeah, I mean, there's
Like,
a lot of things that Daryl Morey did well, but to me, Daryl Morey's commitment, his mindset was one that I didn't agree with.
Mm-hmm.
The mindset of he likes old guys, he likes nostalgia tour.
The NBA ran away from him during his tenure with the Sixers. We had Tony Jones on yesterday, who we'll speak to again later today because he sort of got the first story that this could happen. Obviously, Howard Eskin was the one that got the story that it would happen.
I think we just got to have Tony in studio, come on in and spend a couple hours with us in studio some morning.
So Tony, at some point yesterday when we had him on, was talking about how when Daryl Morey first got here, the big three was still a thing. That's something that you and I have been talking about for the last couple of years. Daryl Morey continued to go in the direction of the NBA where the NBA was no longer going down that path. The NBA made an exit off of the highway and said, we're now going with youth, younger players, faster players. And you saw it just last year in the NBA playoffs when you saw the Indiana Pacers young team and the Oklahoma City Thunder young team. And look, the Thunder are going to be back at it this year. Daryl Morey thought veterans won championships. And for a time, that was the case in the NBA.
He was right. There was a time when it did.
Like that was something. But part of being a great GM or a great president of basketball operations, let's use Howie Roseman, for example, is knowing what that next step is. The Eagles win a Super Bowl playing like a 1990s brand of football. Run the football. Why? Because defenses got smaller and quicker because of the pass-happy league that it became. So Howie Roseman goes, wait a minute, look at how small those defenses are. If I just build a gigantic offensive line, and if I have Saquon Barkley, nobody's going to really be able to stop us. That's why Howie Roseman is elite as his job, because he could see where the league is going maybe ahead of time, whereas Daryl Morey was steps behind. In that case.
And look, is that's one of the things, too, is that you try to anticipate, you try to look ahead, and Daryl didn't do a good job with that.
No.
And right now, the Sixers are at a crossroads, and it is now going to be up to Bob Myers who I am a little confused Because is Bob Myers going to run the show, or is he just going to run the show temporarily?
Well, according to Josh Harris in his statement, Bob Myers will lead the process of identifying a new leader, and I believe his experiences in constructing 4 NBA championship teams will be a valuable resource to our organization. A lot of people were making the joke on social media yesterday. It's going to be really funny when Bob Myers interviews all these people and go, none of them are as good as me.
I don't. It sort of speaks to Ramona Shelburne's point that maybe he doesn't want the job.
Right.
It does, because I sort of felt that we were going to see both those things come in tandem. But we'll figure that out. That's for another day.
But him not wanting the job is not why Morey has to stay, right?
No.
Like
Morey had to go.
He did,
and it had to change because I said it yesterday with Connor. I didn't trust Daryl Morey anymore.
Right.
I didn't trust his judgment. And there are people who are going to try to spin to you that the only reason they got rid of Jared McCain was because of Daryl Morey was being forced to get under the tax. So they were ducking the tax. That is such a BS answer.
Yeah, especially because, again, it has been reported multiple times now that they wanted to make a move the next day. It's just he misread the market.
And there were other moves that could have been made that could have gotten them under that tax. So it's obvious that what you just said, Andrew, is the truth. There was another move that he thought he had in his back pocket, and he didn't.
Yeah, and I think that's why the NBA quickly ran away from Daryl Morey, and that's why you have to make this move. Like, he thought he was ahead of the curve. He was not. You mentioned the good things that he did. It wasn't just drafting, Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe. Even just going back to when he first got here, the Al Horford contract was a mess that he had to clean up.
I can't believe he ever did that.
And he got Danny Green. Like, he actually got a player in return, and he got rid of that entire contract. A smaller move, but one that was really impactful. Trading Josh Richardson, who couldn't shoot, to the Dallas Mavericks for Seth Curry. I don't know how he pulled that move off. I don't know what Dallas was thinking. Now we
Dallas has made a few moves.
Couple
that
years
I don't
later,
know what they're thinking.
Yeah, a couple years later, we found out that they didn't really have the best head on their shoulders. And then, of course, the Ben Simmons situation. And say what you want about James Harden. I get it. Like the Game 6, Game 7 Boston, his entire career coming up small, late in series. But Ben Simmons did not want to be here. Ben Simmons had his cell phone in his pocket at practice. Like, he wanted nothing to do with the Philadelphia 76ers organization. And Daryl Morey was able to ship him off and get James Harden, who actually had some pretty big moments during his time here.
And that's always going to be, by the way, no matter how much I'm not a James Harden fan, getting James Harden for Ben Simmons.
That was a win.
When everybody knew that you had to get rid of Ben Simmons, that's a freaking steal.
Oh, it absolutely is.
That's amazing. When you have something that you have to move, and everybody knows you have to move it, you're not going to get top dollar for it. I think getting Daryl Morey getting a return of a guy of that talent level, to me, is getting top dollar.
Yeah.
That was the best. That was the best you could ever have imagined.
Like, look at what happened to Ben Simmons afterward. Like, the guy didn't want to play basketball anymore. and you got a very good player, a Hall of Fame player, out of that deal. So there's going to be a lot of revisionist history about what Daryl Morey has been able to do here in Philadelphia. A lot of people are going to say that it was nothing but bad things. But here's the deal.
Not true.
And I put this out yesterday on social media. Just because he cleaned up messes, that does not mean he gets to keep his job after creating the colossal mess that he did create. Like, let's face it, Daryl Morey created this mess of the Paul George contract that not many people wanted. I know you and I looked him in the eyes and told him we did not want this. And I know there were a lot of reporters.
Before it happened, we can say it. That before it happened, we had a little sit down. We're just talking, and Daryl was very good about that, by the way, talking and just in joking around. He was sort of saying, "Well, what would you guys do if you were me?"
Right,
like in a joking situation. Well, what would you do if you were me?
We threw out some names,
and we were like, we would absolutely not do Paul George.
Yeah, because you're signing an insurance policy to Joel Embiid, and Paul George needs his own insurance policy because of the injuries that he has sustained over his career. And then the Joel Embiid extension that nobody was asking for, right? Like, if he was coming off his MVP season and it was the final year of his deal, that's one thing. There was still 2 years left on his deal.
There was zero reason to have to do it.
There was none. And now that does not kick in until next season. Like, he still has 3 years on this new contract that doesn't kick in until the 2026-27 season starts. So just because you cleaned up other messes doesn't mean you can then go into another aisle and pull down all the pickle jars and spill them all over the aisle and be like, that's all right. I cleaned up those other ones, though.
Well, it's like you talked about with Coop the other day. I mean, is Coop cleaned up a mess at your house, and you were very proud of him, but Coop went and made another mess.
Yeah, and so
I mean, you can't like you don't applaud cleaning up the one mess and creating another mess.
Right.
But I do believe the story of Daryl Morey is a very mixed bag here, and it certainly was not a trash story. It was certainly not a story of a guy who did a horrendous job, but he hooked his wagon to things that I think he should have known better than, and that was one of them was Joel Embiid.
Well, that's the thing. He may not have done a horrendous job, but there is a possibility that he put them in a horrendous situation.
I think he did.
My only thing is
he did. I don't even think it's a question that he did.
Right, but can this whoever Bob Myers hires and and Josh Harris signs off on it, does Paul George have trade value? Right? Like, did Paul George play himself into being tradable during that series with Boston and some of the moments that he had against the New York Knicks? Like,
did you watch any of the studio shows yesterday? Any of the NBA coverage yesterday?
I did not. No.
Okay, there are people who do believe that he did. That do believe that Paul George is the much more movable asset than Joel Embiid. Much more.
Yeah.
It seems like the ex-NBA players, and Amy talked about it with us yesterday. Amy sort of seemed to believe that George was the one who was much more movable.
Well, yeah, because he still has very good perimeter defense, and Embiid's not really doing much on the defensive end anymore. And Paul George, when getting hot, can be a catch-and-shoot three. And look, we saw him create his own shot, which that was different.
And they seem to be the ex-NBA players who I always take it as they're talking to other NBA players. They're talking to – and I talked to a very large one last night trying to get him on the show today. But they believe that Paul George is the movable asset. And it seems to be that their belief is that Paul George could not easily be moved, but if they want to move Paul George, he'll be moved.
And by the way, it has to happen because
I think one of them has to go.
You need to start getting off of these really bad contracts. And look, I guess we'll eventually find out whenever they speak, and I know it'll be later on this week. Was Daryl Morey still pushing that he could make this work with the group that he has, right? Like, I was listening to Johnny.
You mean, did he go down with the ship?
Yeah, did he say, like, look, I still think this group can win. This is what I can do this offseason in order to achieve that. And once you hear that, like, it's not going to happen, Daryl. Like, I don't know if that's what he said, but I can tell you it's not going to happen.
Are you talking about where Johnny Marks was saying that if he was interviewing somebody and they said, well, my plan is to build around Embiid, Zoom interview over? I would agree with that 100%. If someone tells me their plan is, well, I think we can still do it with Joel Embiid. Zoom interview over, next candidate. Come to me. And but it doesn't appear that a lot of the let's put it this way, a lot of the ex-NBA players who are sitting on panels believe that Joel Embiid's a movable asset.
Okay.
They don't seem to believe that there's a lot of teams that are going to be like, and from what I was deciphering last night, a lot of teammates that are going to be like, yeah, let's bring Embiid into our locker room. Let's bring him in because I have a feeling we're going to hear more stuff coming out about Tony Jones has some coverage on it. That we're going to have more stuff about some of the Sixers' dysfunction.
Oh, yeah.
That is now going to come out, and much of it is going to center around Joel Embiid.
Yeah, you'll get the Daryl Morey side of the
well, it's going to center around
at some point, right?
Well, for the second consecutive year, this team had to have players going to management complaining about Joel Embiid disrupting the team.
Yeah, because they're tired of it. And look,
they're tired of his childishness. They're tired of his unprofessionalism. They can't deal with the man because he won't act like a grown-up.
I've brought this up a lot.
Couldn't imagine it.
Talking to enough people, being here throughout the whole process, and then obviously the first couple of years after the process, after Embiid and Simmons were here, the organization allowed them to do whatever they wanted because they were the two players that were supposed to take us out from the process and bring us to the promised land, and they allowed them to do whatever they wanted. Remember, I mean, random example, Ben Simmons staying in Miami after the horrible loss because Kendall was there, and the team allowed it. Like, the team allowed Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid to do whatever they wanted, and that gets in your mind at some point, especially when you're making $50 million freaking dollars, which Joel Embiid's getting.
But okay, I get that. There are times where at work, against like a boss will maybe you'll have a certain latitude, and then things don't go as well, and then the boss pulls the latitude back. At some point, when do you have to be self-aware and go, my teammates are literally going to management complaining about me being a diva, being I do my own thing, I'm not a good teammate.
John,
and then they do not. And then I don't react to it.
John, you work in an industry
full of divas.
Filled with egos and divas.
I know.
You know that there are people that have been told to do things and they say, okay, fine. Or there's the opposite of, yeah, screw you. I'm going to do the opposite now.
I know. And they almost do,
right?
almost out of spite, they're going to say, I got you. And by the way, you and I have both experienced it.
Yeah, and that's sports talk radio, not $50 million NBA
and the thing
player.
is, though, you expect it at some point to change. You really do. You expect it at some point to change. And to me, I wonder how much can change as long as he's here. As long as Joel Embiid's here.
So our question to start, obviously reaction, 610-632-0975. But our question to start, what is the number one task for whoever this new president of basketball operations is going to be that you want them to attempt to complete? Like you're sitting across the desk and you're saying, this is your first order of business. John, what would the first order of business obviously, logic has to come into play. Like, you would not just trade Joel Embiid for a bag of basketballs. No. But what would your first order of business be?
Find the first major contract you can move.
Yeah.
That's find the first major contract that you can move. That would be it right there. Is you can find a major contract that you can move, do it. That's it. That'd be the first order of business. Show me that the log jam can start to be shifted around. And then I'd go from there.
Yeah, I mean, and to me, again, I think Paul George is the more likely answer for that to happen.
You know, what's funny is you thought that, and you're more of an NBA head than I am. So I'm gonna give it to you there. But I honestly, I was a little surprised to hear that, and I heard it very strongly last night that, look, it's Paul George that can be moved.
I was listening to ESPN overnight on the way over here, and Michael Wilbon, who covers, he's been sports talk forever,
and very
but
well connected,
especially in the NBA.
Oh, very well connected.
He was talking about how the biggest talk at the combine right now, and NBA draft combine, is LeBron and where he's going to go, and how it might be the Golden State 49ers, Golden State Warriors. And think about that for a second. That's a team that already has like two 40-year-olds on it, or two late 30-year-old players, and they're thinking, you know what, we can maybe do something with LeBron. There are teams that are going to say, we get that Paul George is in his mid-30s, but he could still shoot, he could play defense, and if he's not the guy, which, look, here, he was not the guy. There were times where he was the fourth option, the way VJ Edgecombe was
That is
playing.
correct. Yes.
And if you could add a team to where he's your third or fourth guy, and you're not expecting him to run the offense, maybe you can make something happen, especially with his defense still there. The NBA is filled with GMs that talk themselves into thinking it'll work here.
And to me, I guess I just never knew how bad the perception is right now with the Embiid situation. And I'm disappointed in it because I was sort of hoping that maybe we'd be sitting in a different spot. We're not. We're not. It's not looking good.
No,
not looking good.
It's not. So good luck to whoever the next guy is, because you have your own mess to clean up. Your reaction to Daryl Morey being fired, and what you want the new president of basketball operations to attempt to complete first. 610-632-0975. Phillies, Johnny, with another win yesterday, 2-1 over the Sox in Boston. Kyle Schwarber goes yard again in the first inning. 5 straight games now with a home run for Schwarber. People forget that they re-signed him. 17 home runs on the season already. But really, the big story is what Zach Wheeler did yesterday, John, because we saw vintage Wheeler for really the first time. He has pitched well since coming back, but the one thing that was still kind of missing was that velocity. He was hitting 96, 97 on the gun last night, and you're going, all right, he might be back.
How about the fact, too, that to me last night is I saw efficient.
Yeah.
I saw efficient Zach Wheeler, and that was what was so exciting. It's really that was an exciting night last night. 16 pitches to get through 3 innings, which Major League Baseball's, even their account was going back and checking it. It was the most efficient 3 innings.
It's unbelievable.
At least since 2000 on, and then they were going back and researching more. I don't know if they ever got a stat further than that. It's incredible. That's 26 years since a pitcher only took 16 pitches to get through 3 innings.
And he's coming off of a wild situation with the blood clot. 7 1/3 last night, 6 hits, just 1 earned run.
And boy, does it when Schwarber just does. It looks effortless. It looks easy.
Yeah.
And boy, he's been a big help.
He's been huge.
And it's nice to see. And again, people ask, what can a change? What can a change of manager do? I don't think the manager's helping them. It's just, I think everybody breathed a sigh of relief.
Yeah.
And they're feeling better about it.
Magic Mattingly. He touched Zach Wheeler's shoulder.
They're feeling better about it. Let's put it that way.
And it found life again.
They're liking it.
All right.
They're happy.
Coming up next, most of that first segment obviously was about the Sixers parting ways with Daryl Morey. We'll hear from you coming up next, 610-632-0975. I'll scan our YouTube chat as always, Johnny. But also, we did not talk about the decision to keep Nick Nurse. There was a lot of confusion last night when that happened, and I kind of want to know why from people. It's Kincade and Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Daryl Morey is out. I'm Sean Rodman, and the Sixers are parting ways with the Vice President of Basketball Operations, Daryl Morey, after 6 seasons. Former Warriors executive and current HBSC President of Sports, Bob Myers, will lead the hiring process for the next leader of the basketball operations. Tony Jones of The Athletic joined us yesterday morning on the thing that went wrong this season most for Morey.
The top of the organization to the bottom of the organization, from Daryl Morey on down to the video coordinator. They all wanted to win a championship, but still they weren't pulling in that same direction.
Well, one direction that's still going to be pulling is Nick Nurse. He'll be returning as the head coach for the Sixers next season. The Phillies beat the Red Sox last night 2-1 with 7 innings in the third inning. 7 1/3 innings, I should say, from Zach Wheeler. Brandon Mars continued his hit streak to 13 games, and Kyle Schwarber hit his 5th home run in consecutive games. Phils are back in action tonight with Andrew Painter on the mound for the Fightins and Sonny Gray for the Red Sox. The Eagles are reportedly playing the Jaguars in London this year in Week 5. The full NFL schedule will be released tomorrow night. Adam Schefter will join us at 8:05, Tony Jones at 8:30, and Amy Fadool at 9:05. I'm Sean Rodman on the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and The Fanatic.
97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
This hour of Kincade and Salciunas is presented by Bradford White Water Heaters. Bradford White, they're here for the pro.
It's 6:30 here on Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. The morning after the Sixers parted ways with Daryl Morey as the president of basketball operations. We'll be reacting with you all show today at 610-632-0975. We'll check the Davis Honda text line momentarily. You can feel the Davis difference in Burlington. But, John, one of the big takeaways for a lot of people yesterday was, well, why didn't you fire the head coach? So Daryl Morey out. Nick Nurse will resume as the head coach of the Philadelphia 76ers. And there were a lot of people upset with it. Now, part of it was, why would you not let the new GM or president hire their own guy? So I understand that take because that's all
pretty
sports.
standard.
Yeah, that's all
standard.
sports. So I understand that one. But, like, the vitriol toward Nick Nurse is something that I don't understand.
I absolutely do not get it. I don't understand it. I
don't think this guy ever really had the opportunity to coach the Sixers. Like,
has Nick Nurse truly gotten a chance?
I don't think so. And if, like, we just did the Daryl Morey saga, it wasn't all bad. There were some good things
Absolutely.
too. Nick Nurse has had his moments where I questioned his coaching. Like that first series against the Knicks, I'm not talking about the one they just got swept in. I'm saying the one from a couple of years ago. Like not being able to figure out how to keep the offensive rebounds for the Knicks. Like that was over the entire 6-game series. Like,
it was over and over again. It was a terrible. That wasn't a great series.
Like you need to have answers for that kind of stuff, and he could not figure that out.
Did he have the personnel to have the answers? I did. I have asked myself that because I said the same things that we weren't working together at the time of that series.
Right.
I asked myself the same question though. Did he have the personnel to carry off what I thought he did, what I wanted them to do against that Knicks team?
Yeah, I mean, it was a much older team,
much older
team,
much older,
and then people like last year, the season that was just horrendous.
It was awful.
I don't know why people wanted him fired after last year. I'm not talking about the season that just ended. I'm talking about the year where they didn't make the playoffs. I mean,
I didn't get that either.
Embiid missed all that time. George misses all that time. Shockingly. Tyrese Maxey missed time. They had no VJ Edgecombe, right? Like Jared McCain got hurt, right? Like basically 4/5 of your starting five was out at the same time, and people, how come he's not figuring out ways to win games with this group? Because they weren't in the NBA the next year.
We get so pissed sometimes, and look, I fall into it too, so I'm not guilty of this. Every sports fan does of circumstance where we don't put enough into circumstance. There's nothing that Nick Nurse could have done in some of these situations that he's had to deal with. Now, do I believe Nick Nurse is on a clock? Yeah. And I see no problem. I see no problem with the new head of basketball operations or whoever comes in having the opportunity to know Nick Nurse is not on a contract extension. He's on a short leash. Show what you can do, and if you can't do it, you'll be moved on from, and he'll get to hire his own guy next year. But I don't believe Nick Nurse ever had the opportunity here to truly show us what he could do.
Right.
Now we're going to see that opportunity has to come about.
Now, there was like one stain, obviously, this year, and it was not being able to figure out how to work Jared McCain into the rotation.
Horrible.
Right?
That is to me, that's the number one stain on his resume.
Like Daryl Morey deserves, I still believe, majority of heat for moving on from Jared McCain, right? Like, he made that decision. He thought there was going to be another move that he could make the next day before the trade deadline. He misread the market.
That's obvious.
But the reason why he was the guy on the block and nobody else was because Nick Nurse, for some reason, could not find a way to get him into the rotation. And now you're seeing what he's doing with the Oklahoma City Thunder. And they're 4 wins away from getting back to another NBA final, and I'm expecting that. They're 8 wins away from winning another championship, and I'm expecting that.
And a lot of talk that Oklahoma City may or may not just flip McCain this offseason.
Right, because they have 17 guards on that team.
And they may just be working his asset up so they can flip him.
And that's the big thing.
Which is going to be terrible.
Right.
That's going to be absolutely horrendous for us when and if that happens. It's going to be horrendous.
And the thing is with the Thunder, they have an abundance of guards. They had an abundance of guards before they acquired Jared McCain, and yet they still find and forget McCain, they still find a way to get all the guards on the court pretty much almost every single game.
They do.
Whereas,
I don't know how they do it, by the
Nick
way.
Nurse was like, Maxey, Edgecombe, Quentin Grimes. Now, that's what he was given.
But he fell in love with, I think Nick Nurse has fallen in love with who he loves. Like who he wants to play, too.
Yeah, but who other than McCain do you think he truly loved? Like, I don't think Quentin Grimes is we need to keep. One of my this is harsh. One of the things I'm most excited about Daryl Morey being gone is I don't think the next GM is going to say, yeah, Quentin Grimes is a big part of this team.
I don't think he will either.
And I'm excited about that. Andre Drummond, Adem Bona. Like, there are a lot of players on this team that Nick Nurse had to play because there was nobody else. Now, the Barlow thing, right? Like, how come Barlow couldn't get on the court? What did Nick Nurse not see? And then the one game that he played him, he actually was better than the other backup options.
And he actually did well for them.
So, like, Nick Nurse doesn't escape any criticism from me. I just don't understand the anger for some people that he is back because I never thought he truly got the fair crack at it.
I didn't either.
It's not his fault. He didn't sign Paul George, who's hurt, and then get suspended. He didn't sign Joel Embiid to an extension, who's always hurt.
And the more importantly is that in this town, Joel Embiid has all the excuse makers. Yet I don't see any grace being offered to a Nick Nurse, so I don't get it. Like I don't understand it because I do believe there are a lot of people who know basketball, but they don't seem to really know basketball with the critique that he tends to get.
You know how a couple years ago when the Phillies lost to the Mets, and even you, somebody that's very critical of Rob Thompson, even you say,
no,
there was nothing in that series that you could say.
I would have done the exact same moves, Andrew, that he did when he made his bullpen moves, Rob Thompson in the Mets series. I would have done the exact same moves in Game 1 and Game 2.
Right.
So the first two games of that series, when you saw Strahm and you saw Hoffman blow it.
Right.
And they blew up like they hadn't blown up all season long.
Yeah.
I would have done the exact same moves because that's what you saw all year.
All year long, right.
Rob Thompson can't be criticized for that.
So my question for the people that are angry that Nick Nurse is back or questioning why Nick Nurse is back, I guess I would ask the same question that we asked of people that were angry with Rob Thompson against that Mets series. What would you have done differently? The backup bigs that they had are the backup bigs that they had.
Correct.
You know, the Jared McCain not finding a way to play him in the rotation, okay, that's a stain. That's a stain on him.
That is a huge stain, especially when you see what a world championship club is able to do with him.
Right. But then after that, like, are you upset that Justin Edwards didn't play more? Like, there's a reason why Justin Edwards didn't play more. Are you upset that certain 9th, 10th guys on the bench didn't play more? There's a reason why they're that deep into the bench and could not play. Like, this team was very, very lacking of depth. So I don't know what
I think that's fair.
would have done differently with Nick Nurse. Now, we have a caller that wants to talk about that.
Okay.
It's our man, Tasty Cake Dom. What's up, Dommy?
Andrew, hey, John.
Hi, Dom. What's up, buddy?
John, Andre Drummond has one skill set, right?
Yes.
One skill set, right?
He's going to rebound the basketball for you.
Why offensively are you putting him 23 feet away from the basket then?
I'm just going to assume that the analytically run organization that are the Sixers, they believe 3 points is more than 2. And I don't know why Andre Drummond all of a sudden became corner 3 Drummond. I don't know why.
Okay, Andrew. Tobias Harris was put in the corner here. So he's scoring 40 in an elimination game for Detroit. He's put in the corner here.
Yep.
Right? Is that correct? Is that what happened?
Yeah,
I've been pointing it out to Andrew how different Tobias Harris looks as a Detroit Piston. And by the way, he's been one of their best players in a playoff run.
But my point to your point, Dom, is Tobias Harris was the same player with Nick Nurse as he was with Doc Rivers, as he was with Brett Brown during his tenure with the Sixers. So,
but how'd he get used?
Okay, Andrew. Buddy Hield could hit 3-pointers before he got here, and then he's hitting them all over California for Golden State, but he can't get on the court here.
Yeah, that Knicks series, that was another guy. And I still remember, Dom, there was the first half where he was shooting the lights out, and then we don't see him again until the fourth quarter, and I'm sitting there
That
going,
was the Knicks series, correct?
yeah. I'm like, why isn't he playing? So I get it. There's definitely moments, Dom, but I just don't know how much of a difference it would be if it was a different head coach. Like, the roster's the roster.
Well, John, I have one more point.
Yes, sir.
The way you beat the Boston Celtics is you eliminate three-pointers, right?
Yeah, well, the perimeter defense of the Sixers, I think, helped win that, yes.
Play zone against a team that has 7 zone busters.
I don't understand that. I'll tell you this. I always will say I do not consider myself a basketball strategist, but I would come in during that series and I questioned things that I said that Dom DeJulia taught me in CYO basketball at St. Anastasia. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Thanks, Dommy. Here's also,
like I don't understand. If I'm coming up, if I'm looking at things and figuring it out strategy-wise, there's a problem.
I could also point this out.
What's that?
Is Embiid locking anyone down at this stage?
No, his defense. I'll tell you, you looked at me crazy when I said it a few weeks ago that Embiid has slipped big time as a defensive player.
Well, no, when his ass is planted down low, he could still
he can, but
be
his
a body.
But his defense has slipped.
But when Dom's talking about why are you playing zone, well, one guy can't move.
Well, we only got 3 more years of it.
And that's why Daryl Morey's fired.
At max dollars.
Ultimately, Daryl Morey came in here, cleaned up messes, and then created a whole other mess in a different aisle. And that's why he's fired. And just because maybe Paul George's trade value went up, that does not save somebody's job. You signed him to begin with. All right, more of your reactions, 610-632-0975. Also, I have a Kyle Schwarber question I want to run by you and our audience, Johnny.
Don't extend him. You gave him like 20 years. No, don't extend him.
How much are you enjoying it, the Kyle Schwarber experience? Or are the expectations too much to really, truly enjoy a pace for 500 home runs? It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
Facebook.com/975 The Fanatic Philadelphia. More of Kincade and Salciunas coming your way now.
All right, 6:47 here on Kincade and Salciunas 97.5. The Fanatic Sixers talk will continue. But, Johnny, we got a big story to continue to watch with the Phillies because the Phillies continue to win baseball games. Magic Mattingly, man, he just found a way. They went from 9-19 to now 20-22.
Were you happy I was sort of complaining a little bit last night?
That's
bit?
good. Yeah, you were wondering why go with Wheeler out there in the 7th inning.
In the 8th.
Or 8th,
start the
excuse
8th.
me.
I did not want him to start the 8th.
I think you were just trying to throw us off the scent.
No, I did not want him to start the 8th. I thought that I thought you got him through 7. He got out of that jam in the 7th.
Yep.
He got out of there. He's leading the game. You have a bullpen that's rested.
Mm-hmm.
That should be where you just go to your bullpen, right?
Well, he got
You're
the
asking
out.
6 outs. You're asking 6 outs. Go to your bullpen.
Got the out. Alvarado gets the next 2, and then Duran with the save. Phillies now 20-22. We've been talking about whether or not they could get to 500 by the end of this week, and they had to go 5-1 for that to happen.
I told you they would be there by the beginning of the Guardians series,
which is May 22nd.
Memorial Day weekend. So the Friday of Memorial Day weekend, I told you I believe they will be sitting at 500.
Well, good start last night getting that win, and a story that we're going to continue to watch more and more as his tenure here in Philadelphia continues is 500 watch for Kyle Schwarber. Kyle Schwarber hits another home run yesterday. He has now homered in 5 straight games. He had 2 in the last game of the Rockies series, so 6 home runs in his last 5 games, 17 on the season, which leads Major League Baseball. We know what he did last year with the 56 home runs, and we were talking about how, look, a drop-off season for Schwarber
would be like 40. I think I said that I thought he'd hit like 46.
Yeah, like still high 40s, and well,
he still could. I don't know. I mean,
he's on pace for basically last year's total with 17 already here in the month of May. And he's now at 357 career home runs. So, Johnny, I'm curious. Today's going to be more Sixers heavy, but
sure,
just to kind of loosen things up a little bit, are you enjoying the Kyle Schwarber individual experience? Because we know that this Phillies talk has been all about getting back to a World Series, winning a World Series, this core, and the expectations that we've had, the colossal failure of 2023, the kick in the nuts of 2024. Last year, you understand why they lose to the Dodgers, but then the messaging that came out from that series, we got a good club, we just ran into the wrong team. Like, I hated that messaging. And so a lot of Wake Me Up When October Comes people come out this year, and I get it. But Kyle Schwarber, like, we're watching a guy that's going to reach 500 home runs. Like, I want to watch every night to see him chase that.
I just find if you I said it to you earlier, if you don't like watching Kyle Schwarber, I think you don't like baseball that much because he's such a he is a it's my favorite word, as you know, in the English language. I think he's a joyous guy to watch. I think he's a fun guy to watch go about his craft. And to me, if you don't enjoy watching Kyle Schwarber, get in the lab and do his thing, you really don't enjoy watching baseball. He's so much fun. I do the get to baseball games late and then go to the YouTube TV where they pick you up through key plays.
Yeah.
And immediately we get to it through key plays.
Schwarber home run.
General Hospital was really good yesterday, by the way, too, so it was worth getting a little late. And put it on. Kyle Schwarber comes up first. You see key plays. Kyle Schwarber's up to bat. I'm like, whoa, Schwarber to start the game? And there it was. That's that beautiful thing. He's an absolute feast to watch. It's so much fun to watch him play, and we're blessed to be able to do it.
So I want to know from people, can you separate, like, Schwarber's individual chase for 500 home runs to what the Phillies have been over the last couple of years? And those standards and expectations are still true today, right? Like, even though I was pissed off with what that offseason was, it's still about 90-plus wins, and it's still about getting to the playoffs, and hopefully they finally freaking make it to a World Series and win it. But I can still sit back and just go, man, I want to watch Kyle Schwarber bat. I wasn't a Giants fan, but I tuned in every night when Barry Bonds was up to bat.
I bet you did.
Because I wanted to see him chasing, 70 home runs. I wanted to see him chase 756 because I'm all about that. Ohtani last year, I'm not a Dodgers fan, But the 50-50, or was that 2 years ago? I forget when that was. But I tuned in for that. Like, I wanted to see him do that chase. The cool thing is this guy's on our team. Like,
Yes.
we're watching the Phillies.
I want to see it just because of the fact is I saw Schmitty do it, obviously, but I want to see Kyle Schwarber. To me, he's going to go down as one of those generational players for this organization. And to me, such a pleasure to watch him go about his work that, yeah, he's worth it every single night of the week. And yes, I just think that he is enough to carry them to a wild card.
Yeah.
If he's having a season like this, and with the pitching hopefully rounding into shape, he's enough to carry them to a wild card. So
Dude,
I'm
he
of
carried
the
them to a
belief.
division last year.
So
If Kyle Schwarber was not on the Phillies last year, they're not in the playoffs.
no, you couldn't count on Bryce Harper to do it.
No.
No, wouldn't have, Trey Turner, even with the batting title, wouldn't have gotten it done.
Well, and that's the
And by
one,
the way, whatever's happening with Trey Turner is a whole nother story.
that's the one big thing with Turner right now.
It's bad.
Kyle Schwarber, 17 home runs. Do you know how many RBI he has this year?
31?
You want to take a guess, Rodman?
31?
I was going to say 33 was my guess.
28 RBI.
Wow.
He has 17 home runs. He's only driven in 28 runs.
It is a huge
Because
problem.
the guy in front of him is not getting on
It's
base.
a huge problem. Trey Turner, and I don't know if you saw did you see the Bob Nightingale note?
Oh, that people are like stunned. They have no idea what happened.
Scouts around baseball are severe, like major league concerned.
Yeah, no, it's a shame, man.
It's
Because
a shame for us. It
yeah,
is.
no, that's what I'm saying.
He's only got, 7 years left on that deal?
Yeah, about so.
Yeah, it's great.
All right.
That's
Are you
great.
enjoying the Kyle Schwarber race to 500 despite all the angst with the Phillies? What do we got on the text line there, Robin? Connor, speaking of the Red Sox, Connor's going to Boston, little family trip, so he'll be there for the next two games.
Well, hopefully, because tomorrow looks really bad in Boston weather-wise.
Weather-wise?
Yeah.
He could still find a way to have fun.
Oh, no. Hopefully, I just hope he gets to see the game, the Luzardo versus
Suarez man.
game.
All right, what do we got on the Davis Honda text line? Feel the Davis difference. Check them out in Burlington.
Well, speaking of 7-year contracts left, John C. from Tennessee checks in and says things Daryl Morey would do as the new Sixers GM. He says extend Embiid's extension by 2 more years, trade VJ Edgecombe for a 3rd-round pick, and sign LeBron to a 7-year contract.
Okay, yeah.
Well, look. That's a joke that hits too close to home.
Yeah.
But it's the truth.
Yeah.
That's sort of
Daryl
what the
Morey
man-
would have done.
That's what he's saying. It's what Daryl Morey would do. Daryl Morey does that kind of stuff. That's what he
Yeah.
did.
All right. Well, hopefully
Unfortunately, we're moving on from that.
hopefully we get some real answers as this show continues. All right, coming up next, more Sixers talk. After big news like last night, Johnny, obviously a lot of people in the world of basketball want to react. One NBA voice asks a really interesting question about the Sixers pre- and post-Daryl Morey that I can't wait to discuss because, again, we live in a world of revisionist history. He also gave a scenario that I thought was impossible. But we'll talk about it next. It's Kincade and Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
No more Morey. I'm Sean Rodman, and the Sixers are parting ways with Daryl Morey after 6 seasons. Former Warriors executive Bob Myers will lead the hiring process for the next leader of basketball operations. Tony Jones of the Athletic joined us yesterday morning on a flaw of Morey's roster construction.
This was a top-heavy league, right? You get 3 guys at the top of your roster, 3 great guys at the top of your roster. And it's just no longer like that. The way you win in the NBA has changed over those 5 years.
Nick Nurse will return as head coach for the Sixers. The Phillies beat the Red Sox last night 2-1 behind 7 1/3 innings from Zach Wheeler. Phillies are back in action tonight with Andrew Painter on the mound for the Fightins and Sonny Gray for the Red Sox. The Eagles are reportedly going to be playing the Jacksonville Jaguars in London this year, which will be Week 5 in October. The full NFL schedule will be released tomorrow night. Adam Schefter will join us at 8:05 today, Tony Jones at 8:30, and Amy Fadool at 9:05. This update is brought to you by Mattress Firm. Waking up drained? Mattress Firm's sleep experts will help you find the right bed for deeper rest at the Memorial Day sale. Mattress Firm, they make sleep easy. I'm Sean Rodman on the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and the
on Connor, Kincade and Salciunas, Philly Sports Talk, 97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
All right, 7 a.m. here on Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Sixers part ways with Daryl Morey as the president of basketball operations. We're reacting with you, 610-632-0975. Your overall reaction. What's the first order of business for the new president of basketball operations? Your thoughts on the Sixers retaining Nick Nurse? I don't feel the same anger as a lot of people because I don't know what else you would have done if you were in Nick Nurse's position. And then the Phillies discussion that we threw out there. Kyle Schwarber continues to rake, continues to hit home runs. 17th home run yesterday, 5 straight games of the home run, 6 in his last 5. And he's on pace to hit over 500 home runs. Are you enjoying the Kyle Schwarber race to 500 despite all the angst around the Phillies? You could text in, call in 610-632-0975. Now, Johnny, we have a poll today. Obviously, thanks to Dr. Avedon Appel and Iron Mountain Men's Health, it's always strong in the morning. Sean Rodman, who's in for Connor today. What do we got this morning?
Today's Twitter poll, what should be the first order of business for the new Sixers regime? In first place, attempt to trade Embiid at 71%. In second place, attempt to trade Paul George at 23%. And run it back one more time at 6%.
I'm glad that's only 6% because nobody should say run it back one more time. We did ask Monday morning, did that Boston series do anything for people moving forward? I wonder if that's the 6%.
It did something for us at the time.
No, I'm saying to retain the roster.
No.
Like that couldn't have that did nothing for me ultimately because you got swept and embarrassed the next round against the Knicks. But maybe there are some people that think, oh, this could be the making of something. We had Adam Aronson on. He said that organization will have to make the decision what was more real, games 5, 6, and 7, or the other 90-plus games. Spoiler alert, the other 90-plus games. You can't take a 3-game sample size and say this is what it could be.
How did you fall behind 3-1? Right. Now, part of that was Embiid missing 3 games.
And then what happened in the next round?
Which is, by the way, no fault of his.
Right, but then what happens in the next round? He misses. He played game 1, kind of, and then game 2 he's hurt. And that's the story.
And that's the story.
So the majority of people saying trade Embiid, that's the smartest answer because he's got the most amount of years left on the contract.
Do you think the negativity on Embiid is as high as it's ever been?
Yes.
Robin, you too?
Probably.
Because I think it's as high as it's ever been.
And I also don't know if it's negativity like I hate the guy. I think it's just exhaustion.
No, yeah, I don't think it's
It's hit me.
First of all,
all people.
When it hit you, that's where I knew that it was a problem. Because that's when it hit you. And I'm not mocking you with that. I'm saying is that when you have somebody that is your favorite player, somebody that you really, really focus on, and there's a lot of reasons that he became your favorite player.
Oh, yeah.
And then you sort of go, yeah, it's time. That tells me,
yeah, we've reached that point.
That tells me that if you are coming to the party, that's a problem.
Question is whether or not they can do it, and that's a whole other discussion. Now, Bill Simmons, who has his podcast on The Ringer, and I know Bill Simmons is a
Celtics bootlicker.
Well, yeah, and he's a walking meme for a lot of people.
He's a Celtics bootlicker.
A lot of people listen to his podcast more so for the humor of it, and he's not trying to be funny. It's more so just people kind of laugh at Bill Simmons. But Bill Simmons posed an interesting question on his podcast yesterday. He did the emergency episode. Daryl Morey gets fired. And I think the question inside this clip is very interesting to discuss.
When I look at the job that he did in Philly, which was really up and down, like some really big hits and some misses too. I guess my question is, are they in a better or worse place than when he took over? Because he was able to get them out of the Ben Simmons thing. He was able to trade Harden and get some pretty decent picks from the Clippers back. I mean, I think one of them's unprotected. VJ Edgecombe, they pulled that off where they now have Maxey and Edgecombe as like the centerpiece for what they're doing. So to me, this isn't like, oh my God, this guy our team up. But at the same time, I wasn't surprised at all. So why wasn't I surprised?
I don't think it's like a disgraceful firing. I just think this thing, they needed to refresh it. I think Daryl will get another job.
Yeah.
But ultimately, if I had to hang it on something, Bill, I would say those 2 contracts, the Paul George and Joel Embiid, that's what got it done.
So first off, forgive me, I don't know who the co-host is. That's what got him fired, right? Like, let's face it. The Paul George and Joel Embiid contracts, it's, again, he cleaned up a mess and then created a monster mess of its own. So
I've heard from people, too, that before some reports that, well, don't blame him because he didn't sign the Joel Embiid extension. And yesterday, Shams and both Shams and Windy both made it seem like their sources tell them, yes, he was a driving force behind the Embiid extension. So I've heard different things locally.
Sure.
That tend to, but when Shams and Windy both say they've heard that, that sort of tells me they're hearing it right.
And look, I'm not saying it made sense because it didn't make sense, but I'm guessing what Morey was thinking, all right, I have Embiid, Maxey, George, all the same timeline, pretty much, except for like 1 year difference.
I think, now this might be me, so you tell me if you think it's just a little bit of anti-Embiid bias. I took it as, hearing them talk about it yesterday on NBA Live, I took it as they didn't want to risk Embiid being bitch boy. That these guys had more guaranteed money, more contract than he did.
Well, that same offseason, I don't look at it that way.
So I know that's how I looked at it yesterday when I heard that, is that, so Paul George is new here and he's got all this guaranteed money that runs longer than me. Maxey's got more money that now runs longer than me.
I don't look at it the money, but I see it as, remember, I think it was that offseason where he did that. There wasn't supposed to be video where he sat down and talked with people and he said,
yeah.
I want to win. What's next for Joel Embiid? And it's, I want to win a championship, whether it's here or somewhere else. So maybe that's
he plays it's the Joel Embiid playbook. Every single offseason, he pulls out the crap, and he did it again, of the, whether
I'm here or somewhere else.
I don't know where I'll be.
Now,
I don't know what I'm doing.
Now, the question that's interesting that Bill Simmons, posed there during that clip earlier on is, are the Sixers in a better spot right now post Daryl Morey than they were when he first got here? And that's why the revisionist history conversation is always one of my favorite, because Daryl Morey did make some really big moves when he first got here. Like, that Al Horford contract was a disaster. And
I still can't. That was sorcery to me.
Like, think about the team when he got here. Al Horford, Ben Simmons literally did not want to be here. He didn't give Tobias Harris the max contract, right? Like, there were some,
and that was more of an emergency that was perpetuated by the last, and that was the last owner, the last group,
right?
It had nothing to do with him.
The Sixers franchise looked to be in a pretty bad place. So, leaving the Sixers now, they did not have a first-round pick in this upcoming NBA draft. Now they do. Now, of course, that was because they traded Jared McCain, and that's a discussion point within its own right. The unprotected pick from the Clippers is a big one. And that's one that they can either use their own, or whenever some of these contracts get moved, either Embiid or George or both, you can use that first-round pick that's unprotected to get a proven star in the NBA.
The minute, remember what was being talked about yesterday? This thing keeps falling off on my mic. On Middays with Marks. The minute that someone says to me, trade the Clippers pick, I'm done.
You're out.
I'm hanging up. The Clippers are headed towards being a really bad organization, and I think they're already sort of there. The minute that someone says, well, my plan would be trade that number one pick from the Clippers for an established star.
Well,
hang up.
I mean, if it's a 27-year-old established star.
Hang up. I'm hanging up. The Clippers are set to be, when that pick happens, they look like they could be a top 3 bad team.
Could be.
Like, now the rules change for the lottery, by the way. And does that change their opinion?
Maybe.
They've made it less palpable.
It could.
Put it that way.
It could. So it's interesting. Like, are the Sixers in a better spot now?
No, they are not.
It's hard to ignore Embiid and George's contract because those are the two glaring issues.
Well, let's look at it this way. What are the building blocks right now?
You have Edgecombe and Maxey.
So with the Edgecombe and Maxey, where they're at in their careers, is that a better building block than what Daryl had when he took over?
Oh, absolutely, because both those guys weren't here.
Okay, so the answer then is yes.
And you have more picks to use.
So the answer is yes, right?
But the problem is you have these two glaring contracts. if the new president of basketball operations can move off of one of the two,
Correct.
George or Embiid this offseason,
then
the outlook's a lot different.
And then it would say to you, okay, so let's say the new basketball operations, and this is where my mind went last night, and I said to myself, stop waffling, John, because you were somebody yesterday telling Connor, I don't trust Daryl Morey. But let's say that Paul George's contract is something that can be moved. Does that mean that Daryl Morey could have done that this offseason and he got moved to?
I mean,
like
no,
because I'm the one asking this, and I'm the one saying yesterday to Connor, I don't trust the guy anymore. They got to move on.
No, I don't applaud Daryl Morey for saying, "Hey, great job signing this disastrous contract to trade him." You know what I mean? Like, the reason why you're trading him is because the contract's bad, and who signed him to that bad contract? It was Daryl Morey. So I don't think that should be enough for him to keep his job. The idea of potentially moving on from George.
First time in my business life when I went into management, I had a boss, and he said to me, when I used to have to manage a budget and do things and everything, he'd say, "Look, John, when you make a mistake, just correct it. Like get on with it and correct it." So you're going to make mistakes.
We also don't know if he wanted to correct that mistake.
That's the issue.
Daryl Morey may have said, look at, you saw the vision, games 5, 6, and 7. You saw what it can be. I promise you, Josh, that I can make this work. Give me another offseason where I'll get a backup guard that we've been looking for a decade, a backup big that we've been looking for a decade, a sniper that can hit threes consistently off the bench. And then you start sitting there going, well, then how come we haven't figured these out over the last half a decade?
Is he going to drag this down that path? Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And maybe that's what led to the
Because last
decision.
night I'm thinking that, and I'm going, okay, you're waffling, dude. You are really waffling. You were the one saying this morning the guy's got to go, and then...
I think the move needed to happen, period.
It seems like it did.
Now, one potential Embiid trade that was floated out there yesterday from Jake Fisher. John, this is like Andrew Salciunas' life.
What do you mean?
So I love Joel Embiid. You know that.
I know you do.
And it has pained me to reach to this point.
You got there, though.
The one trade that's being talked about
is what?
Is trading Embiid to Sacramento for a fellow countryman.
Oh.
Domantas Sabonis.
Well, then, the Sacramento Kings, and one of the things, and Shaquille's partial owner of that team.
Yeah,
is they do well. They do well at the gate. Like they're a pretty good team.
2 years ago when they had that season and the light the beam and everybody was fired. Last year sucked.
No, but they do in the market because they're the only thing in town.
Right.
They're still a big deal. Joel Embiid would be a big deal there.
He would be.
He'd be a big deal there.
And then you have the Lithuanian Philadelphia community getting season tickets for Sabonis.
Well, I'm not sure about that, but I have seen them. I've seen them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if that would. I don't know if that would happen.
It's just like my dream. I go on from the guy that I love to a countryman. It'd be fantastic. Now there was one other clip from the Bill Simmons podcast that I'll play for you, and then we'll check the Davis Honda text line here. And I do know for a fact, because I do listen occasionally, that he did, like, this is true. He's not lying in this clip. He's not doing revisionist history. But in fairness, because you and I both like to be as fair as possible.
We try to be. Well, let's put it this way: is we don't hide whatever our personal bias is, but we try to make sure that both sides of the story are told on this show.
Here is Bill Simmons talking about what he would have done a couple of years ago that I think is a freaking impossible scenario that would have played out.
I said this at the time. The move was to trade Embiid before the Knicks got Towns, when the Knicks were clearly desperately trying to, they had all these picks that made an impact. And they had a real relationship with Embiid. They had Worldwide West and they had Leon Rose, who were like, those are Embiid's guys. Leon Rose that was his agency, and I think out of anyone, they valued him the most. And you just had Embiid coming off these 2 seasons where he played the most games he'd ever played. His stock was never going to be higher. The history of centers and guys that size is usually going to start doing this. And I just think he could have gotten a fucking mother load from Philly. Now, would the fans have been happy about it? I don't know. But I think in retrospect, hard to say, but in retrospect, the move is like, I am selling high, not on Jared McCain, but on Joel Embiid right now.
I don't think they could have traded him after his MVP season. He wins MVP. Things were actually looking pretty good. Then the Harden saga happens. Daryl Morey's a liar. But I feel like that's an impossible scenario. I'm not even saying sell to your fan base.
I don't, though. I don't think that was an impossible scenario. But then again, though, I'm coming at it from so that's not fair. I'm coming at it from my personal, I was done with the Embiid story multiple years ago. So to me, that sounds completely logical. And at the time, I talked about it on these airwaves that I would have moved him. And the minute he started with right after the MVP season, remember, it was after the MVP season, he was trying to do this. He was trying to work a deal. It's the only reason why you say, well, whether it's here or whether it's somewhere else. That's the only reason. He was trying to orchestrate something. I would have accommodated. I would have given him exactly what he wanted. Okay, Joel, go. Here's a door. Walk through it. Walk through it.
After the MVP season.
And again, the MVP season did a lot for you. That does nothing for me.
I got you.
And you know what? It does nothing for me now.
Well, remember, I wanted to keep Harden.
And by the way,
they're 1 win away. They're 5 minutes away from beating the Boston Celtics and breaking the streak going to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Well, no, they were 60. Really, they were 53 minutes away because then they had a Game 7 and
they just didn't. Yeah.
Neither one of them showed up. Neither one of them. Tail between their legs in Boston Garden on Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Talk about disasters.
I know.
Just disastrous.
All right, what do we got on the text line? Davis Honda text line. Check out Davis Honda in Burlington. They're fantastic. Sean Rodman in for Connor today. What
What's
do we
up,
got
Sean?
on the text line? Is it better than the last one?
Yes. This one is another trade idea for you with Embiid. This person's saying, I'm telling you the trade is possible after watching the Wolves series. Embiid and Paul George for Randall and Gobert to help against Wemby. I don't know if the Sixers would do that, but
Embiid and Paul George, no one could take that as a contract.
You're not doing it.
They can't. No team could handle that, contract-wise.
Well, no, the Minnesota Timberwolves. What he's saying is basically swap the two, but
they can't do that though. I don't even think that works financially. Does it?
Contract-wise, it would be pretty close.
Gobert's got a max. I don't know what Randall's contract is.
Yeah, I don't know if does Randall have.
You'd probably have to throw in one or two more contracts.
The answer is that's not happening. Like they're not. There's no way the Sixers and T-Wolves are working on a deal where it's.
Well, wait a minute here though. The T-Wolves have gone to the conference finals the last 2 years.
Yes,
they are most likely going to miss the conference finals this year. We believe, even if it's in 6 or 7, that they'll lose.
They're playing really well this series, but yes,
we also believe that the San Antonio Spurs are not going to be a one-hit wonder.
Correct.
They're going to be okay.
Neither are the Thunder.
I could absolutely see them at least being entertained, but not by the health with those two guys. I don't see that they'd say, yeah, health-wise, I'm betting on it.
By the way,
it's intriguing, though.
The Timberwolves, I just did the NBA trade machine. Timberwolves are over the luxury tax threshold with this trade, and the incoming aggregate
I didn't
salaries exceeded what's allowed. So the Timberwolves would have to move more players.
I remember that I looked at that. I looked at something like that before because somebody wrote that. Somebody wrote something like that before at, like crazy trade things, and that wouldn't have worked.
Yeah, it's.
That's interesting, though. No, I like the thought process, though.
No, look, yeah. I don't
it's
think
okay to get crazy. There's no way the Sixers are getting out from under Embiid and George in the same offseason. But if you get out from under one of them, there's progress. Again, you open up the logjam. That's it. You gotta show me progress.
Yeah, look, I'll be honest. I would be shocked if both are moved. I would not be shocked if one is moved, and I believe Paul George is the more likely one. And that's not me saying I want Embiid here. I would just be surprised if they're able to move off of both of those.
Who do you think the fan base overall would sort of be more excited as far as thinking that things could be different?
Our pulse is now it's dropped, but 60% want to attempt to trade Embiid first.
I think this fan base would be more intrigued and more excited if Embiid was moved.
Yeah.
I think there'd be more of a breath of fresh air. Let's get on with it.
That's the big one, the breath of fresh air.
If they moved Embiid.
He's been here for a long time.
And they're tired of the crap. They're tired of it. Tired of the act. I'm tired of it. Completely.
Joel Embiid got drafted in 2014.
It's incredible. And he still hasn't understood. He still doesn't understand what it takes to be a professional.
You know that Joel
and that bothers me.
You know that Joel Embiid's tenure at the Sixers has mirrored my tenure here at the Fanatic?
No, it hasn't, because you show up for work. You actually show up for work, and by the way, you're a great teammate.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. No, I'm just talking about the amount of years.
No. I'm saying, no, I do not remember Rodman. Have we ever had to have a meeting with management to complain about Andrew and his work ethic? And no,
Not
we
to
don't
my
do
knowledge.
that. No. Like Connor and Rodman and Austin and I, we don't have to go to management and complain about you.
Yeah.
So you see, because you actually know how to.
You guys just drink a lot at
No,
night,
you know
that's
how to
all.
conduct yourself like a professional, unlike him. And he still never learns.
Coming up next, Sixers Phillies on the table. Phillies, are you enjoying the race for 500 for Kyle Schwarber despite all the angst? But we have another schedule leak. This time, actually, a real leak.
Yep.
Yesterday was an announcement.
Well, now we know 3 weeks.
Well, yes. John
We know three.
John Kincade is a bright man. Are the Eagles going abroad? Do you have to get your passport renewed? We'll talk about it next here on Kincade Salciunas 97.5 The Fanatic. And who better to travel with than our team?
Nobody better.
Vince and the team at Philly Sports Trips. I called them yesterday.
And what are they?
Well, I called him yesterday to congratulate him. Philly Sports Trips, who we have been working with for years now, he's been doing this will be his 10th season setting up trips for the Philadelphia Eagles. And I could say Philadelphia Eagles, not just birds, because they are the official travel partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. It got announced earlier this week that Vince, all this hard work, all this effort, and all the success, quite frankly, has led to this partnership with the Eagles, which is amazing. So you know that the trips, if you've ever been on a trip with Philly Sports Trips, they've already been really, really freaking good. Imagine the access that he might now have as the official travel partner of the Eagles. And we're teaming up because there's a big one to get to. Yes, you could go abroad, potentially to London, if that is official. But we know that they will be in Nashville. That is set in stone. We don't know the date yet. The schedule comes out tomorrow night. But the trip to Nashville is going to be a big one. That's the one that he's going to push hard for. We're talking round-trip travel, hotel, game tickets, and the exclusive fan experiences. If you go to phillysportstrips.com right now, even though we don't know the dates, you can see what is already scheduled. He's got a party for you upon arrival. He's got a party for you Friday, a party for you Saturday, a free day mixed in there, and, of course, the big tailgate Sunday leading up to kickoff. So if you ever wanted to roll into an away game with a crew of diehard Birds fans, this is the company to go with. Just go to phillysportstrips.com. Put down your deposit. We don't know the dates yet, but once we do, you know those trips are going to sell out quickly. So get your deposit in now, start planning, grab your crew, and check out all the details at phillysportstrips.com because Nashville is going to see a whole lot of green this year.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Daryl Morey is out. I'm Sean Rodman, and the Sixers are parting ways with Daryl Morey after 6 seasons. Former Warriors executive Bob Myers will lead the hiring process for the next leader of basketball operations. Tony Jones of The Athletic joined us yesterday morning on the one thing that went wrong this season.
The top of the organization to the bottom of the organization, from Daryl Morey on down to the video coordinator. They all wanted to win a championship, but still they weren't pulling in that same direction.
One direction the Sixers will be pulling next year is Nick Nurse. He'll be returning as the head coach next season. Phillies beat the Red Sox last night 2-1. 7 in the third innings from Zach Wheeler last night. Brandon Marsh continued his hit streak now at 13 games, and Kyle Schwarber hit his 5th home run in consecutive games. Phils are back in action tonight with Andrew Painter on the mound for the Fightins up in Boston, and then Sonny Gray will start for the Red Sox. Phils are now 11-3 since Mattingly took over. The Eagles are reportedly playing the Jacksonville Jaguars in London this year, and that'll be Week 5. The full NFL schedule will be released tomorrow night. Adam Schefter will join us at 8:05, Tony Jones at 8:30, and Amy Fadool at 9:05. I'm Sean Rodman on the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
and Salciunas.
97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
7 a.m. hours brought to you by the BetParks online casino and sportsbook app. Live bet sports on the BetParks app. Play all your favorite casino games. There's always another way to win on the BetParks online casino and sportsbook. Got to be 21 in Pennsylvania, Jersey, or Maryland. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, did we get another schedule leak for the Philadelphia Eagles? We discussed that here in a minute or two. But John Kincade with the I have a question.
Yeah, real quick question for you. Vegas Golden Knights win last night in overtime. They were now one win away from their conference championship in the West. The hiring of John Tortorella to turn that team, which was in a death spiral, is pretty amazing. The Carter Hart story, there's one of the guys who covers the Knights is just like, it has been a complete non-story in Vegas. Mm-hmm. Complete non-story, him coming back to the NHL. It's been a non-story in the NHL. It's been a non-story in Vegas. Do you I know we say he couldn't come back here.
Yeah.
Could he have not? When you look at how it's been a non-story. A complete non-story. Could he have come back? I'm just wondering.
I really don't think so.
I don't think he could have either, just PR-wise, but it has not been. There's no outrage. There's no protest from women's groups. There's no the NHL taking a black eye. There's no nothing on it. And I did not expect that, by the way.
Which, by the way, I think that's wrong.
I do too. I do too. I do not. I was not in support of it.
Yeah.
But I guess I thought the public reaction to him coming back was going to be different. Sure. It has not been.
It also could have been both sides wanted to split because, remember, they immediately suspended him. Like the Flyers
they
did
had
something.
to. They had to, though.
Yeah.
They did. Every single player that was involved in the case
right.
that was an NHL player. So the Flyers had to do what they did. But I think both sides need a change of scenery, but I think the assumption was they had to do it. It's surprising to me that in the era we live in today, that it's a complete non-story.
It is crazy.
That surprises me.
No, that's my biggest.
Is Carter Hart. Carter Hart has come back to work, and it is a complete non-story.
Yeah, they just let it go.
There you go.
All right. Potential schedule leak yesterday. So 2 days ago, we know that the Philadelphia Eagles will be playing in Dallas on Thanksgiving. By the way, I saw Ray Dunn anti-Thanksgiving Eagles game, and they ran a poll on Middays, and like 40% also anti-Eagles. Not anti-football. It's what I think it was our man JM on our YouTube chat saying, look, I get invested for Eagles games. I can't be so locked in when Thanksgiving's also happening.
Well, Ray is anti-sports on holidays.
Yes, he is.
So he's anti-sports on it to begin with. But the idea that the Eagles are on, I think the Eagles being at 4:30 makes it a more of a family holiday.
Absolutely.
I think it makes it more of a family event. But I found out yesterday that and a couple people emailing me was like, look, your family's different than our family.
I told you, growing up, I had to stay at the table until my grandparents were done eating. And you know how grandparents may be slower than everybody else. And I had to wait for my grandmom, God rest her soul, to finish the gizzard. And then I could finally leave the table.
I got 3 emails from people saying the way that my family does desserts is crazy. That we do desserts a break of like an hour and a half.
Yeah, no, we keep going, man.
You go right into desserts?
Party doesn't stop.
See, I think that's like crazy town
Party
to
doesn't
me.
Stop, man. Party
that is
keeps
crazy.
Going. So yesterday, it's not official.
It's real.
I agree because Philly sports.
If Adam Schefter's put it out, it's real.
Oh, did he? Okay, I didn't see the Schefter.
It's real.
I saw the Philly Sports Strips post, which I would imagine Vince has an idea of, planning, and
he's the official.
And by the way, he and I have been talking about London for like months now, so like I'm not shocked. But it looks like the Eagles will be playing in London.
Yeah, I trust Schefter knows what he's talking about.
Week 5 against the Jags,
which I think is an advantage. I'd rather play the Jags on a neutral field than play the Jags in potentially 95-degree
I was about to say,
heat.
you escape. Look, just because they're not playing Tampa this year doesn't mean they escaped totally the Florida October heat. But in this case, they do.
That can be nasty. I spent the last Saturday in October in Jacksonville for 2 decades for the Georgia-Florida game. And it can be 90-something degrees and hot.
Yeah.
And sweaty and stanky in Jacksonville. Jacksonville is a pit. It's a hole. And sorry about that, Cousin Matt. It's a pit. And to play there, it could be 95 degrees. You got a break there.
Yeah. And,
that's a break.
And you were saying that you believe it's technically
well, it's guaranteed
2
the bye
weeks.
week. Well, it's the bye week because you're going to get the bye week after because when you travel to London, you get the bye week after.
So week 6 bye, it looks
so
like.
It'll be week 6 bye, which I think sort of sucks. Sort of sucks. Because you're going to play 11 games after that.
Yeah, and we'll have the conversations of
play
whether or not they should rest the starters in week 18.
No, you're going to play. In fact, you're going to play 12 games after it. So you're going to play 5 games, then you're going to have a bye, then you're going to play 12 games. But
just get the 1 seed.
The earlier game that you pointed out is the first one you pointed out is the important one. You're going to get a bye week, another mini bye, because you play the Cowboys
on Thanksgiving.
So you get that extra bye weekend there.
And what they've been doing recently, they'll play Thursday.
Sometimes they've done that, but whatever happens there, you're still getting that extra weekend.
Right.
You're still going to eventually.
You're going to get 10 days rest eventually.
You're going to get 10 days rest. So you're getting an extra bye week later in the season. So it pays off. Playing the Cowboys on Thanksgiving, you get a mini bye, pays off. So that's I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it. Bye week after week 5, so a week 6 bye, and then a bye to begin December. That's not bad.
Yeah. So there you go. Eagles, another schedule leak. They will be playing in London week 5 against the Jags. We know week 12 is the game in Dallas on Thanksgiving. And it all sets up tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is schedule release night. I'm sure there will be at least one more that pops up. Like Jeff McClain's usually got one game.
Yeah, they'll get it. They'll get their little releases. And Cousin Matt already checking in for the London trip. 700 round trip from Newark, 900 round trip from Philly. If you're looking this morning.
All right.
So I don't think that's bad at all.
No. And then you check out phillysportstrips.com for the rest. Let's go to Davey in Ben Salem. What's up, Dave?
Good morning, Andrew. Good morning, John. How you guys doing today?
Good, buddy.
I'm doing good. Thanks for getting me on, man. So I have hope. I have hope again that maybe our Phillies are going to give us another great summer. They're getting back in the race. The goal, obviously, is just to get to 500, and they're so close to getting there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, they're 2 under now, and seeing Zach Wheeler look like vintage Wheeler yesterday,
nice.
That is a sign that we needed to see because the inconsistencies from Luzardo so far this year, Andrew Painter has not necessarily pitched well at all. Like, you needed another horse. We know what Christopher Sanchez can be. It's been nice to see Nola have back-to-back good outings, but you're not going to rely on Nola much. You needed a second arm. And if Wheeler is vintage Wheeler again, that puts everybody at ease because it sets everybody back. If Luzardo's now your 3, and then you figure out your 4 and 5 as the season progresses.
I definitely agree with that, guys. And I wish Zach Wheeler could pitch every day, but obviously he cannot. But like you said, everybody has to step up, offense and the pitching. And Brandon Marsh is having a career year. I just hope he can keep this up. I just hope. And I had somebody tell me the other day, well, maybe he should be the leadoff hitter. No, he is not a leadoff hitter.
No.
You got to keep him where he is right now.
He is a guy where I am not messing with where he's batting in the order. I remember, dude, we've had these conversations every single year. Maikel Franco batting 8th. Oh, look at all the home runs. He should bat 4th, and then he bats 4th, and then he gets exposed. Oh, this reliever should pitch in the 9th inning instead of the 8th. Hector Neris. He goes out in the 9th inning, he pees himself. Like, there's guys that are in certain spots of the order, just leave them there.
Leave them be.
I definitely agree, guys.
There you go.
So you guys are the best, man. I'm not
Thank
gonna
you,
keep
buddy.
it too long.
You're the man, Davey.
So I love you guys. And Andrew, say hi to Coob. I hope he's doing well, and hope I get to see you at the ballpark this
You're
summer.
the best,
you have a great
Davey.
day.
We'll see you, buddy.
One of the nicest people I've gotten to know over the years.
He got Cooper
working here.
Puck.
Yes, he did, man.
He made sure he waved me down, made sure I got Cooper Puck.
You guys are the best. I love Dave. He's such
He's
a nice
great.
person. Yeah, look, I'm not moving Brandon Marsh at all.
No.
in the order. Like just
Nope.
keep him there.
No.
Look, Dave goes, I hope he keeps this up. I don't think Brandon Marsh will finish the season batting 350. There's gonna probably be a slide at some point. But man, even somebody as critical as I am of Brandon Marsh, he deserves all the flowers right now. He's been the most consistent player for the team this year.
If I said to you right now, Brandon Marsh ends the year hitting 285. I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it and run with it.
By the way, that would be his best batting average
Correct.
of his career.
I would take it and run with it at the moment. That'd be wonderful. Do it.
Damn right, man.
Let's do it.
All right, coming up next, Sean Rodman is in for Connor Thomas today.
Rodmania.
So we get today's headlines with Sean Rodman here on Kincade and Salciunas 97.5 The Fanatic.
I know if you're going to be live betting on basketball and the hockey playoffs and more, you want to use the BetParx Sportsbook online and casino app. It's so much fun. You can make your downtime fun time with the BetParx online casino and sportsbook app. It's great. Even though our winter sports have been put to bed, those playoffs are still going on every single night. And I know Western Conference basketball is so much fun to bet on, too. Play all your favorite casino games, too, for real money. You can even play blackjack and everything with a live dealer if you wish. You can play online slots like Huff and Puff Money Mansion, Triple Cash Eruption, and more. So bet on all your favorite sports right there on your phone. The BetParx online casino and sportsbook app. There's always another way to win. So many fun ways to go. And with baseball all summer long, get in on the fightings, too, right there in the app. Got to be 21 in Pennsylvania, Jersey, Michigan, or Maryland. New users only can get that bonus of up to $1,000 back in your first 24 hours on those casino games. The casino bonus has got to be wagered. Check it out. Hey, if you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER.
The Sixers once.
in a moment. Sean in for Connor today. But, Johnny, I was curious. You know, every once in a while when you're on social media, I like to read replies to certain articles and certain opinions to see, all right, where are the people when it comes to this?
All right.
And I mentioned earlier today, I was having more so fun with it because imagine if we go from Joel Embiid to a Lithuanian. Jake Fisher put out the article that one team to keep an eye on with a potential Embiid trade is Sacramento. Sabonis comes here. The money works. He's a max contract player in Sacramento. Sabonis comes here. Embiid goes there.
They would absolutely get more squeeze in that market having Embiid.
So I was reading the replies, and a lot of Sixers fans saying, I want to trade Embiid, but I don't want them to do this.
Why? What's the reasoning?
Well, they're not Sabonis
They don't think
guys.
that's enough?
Here's my point. We have passed that stage. Like, I don't think we have the right to be picky with an Embiid package at this point.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like 3 years ago, as we played the clip from Bill Simmons earlier today, where Bill Simmons has been pushing the trade Embiid thing since his MVP season. 3 years ago, sure. Like, who wants him? But you don't have that luxury. So when I saw a lot of Sixers fans responding to the Jake Fisher story saying, this is horrible, this would be stupid, I'm not saying it would work. What I'm saying is if you want to move on from Embiid for the sake of moving on from Embiid because you want to just change the mojo up, I don't think we have the right to be picky, dude.
No, there's what do you like? The only way you would have a right to be picky is if you think that you had 5 people sitting there frothing at the mouth to go get Joel Embiid.
And I don't think that's there.
I don't believe it either.
The only teams frothing at the mouth will be teams that want to unload their own bad contracts.
And everybody knows you have to get rid of Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
So it's like you're holding something that everybody knows you have to get rid of or you want to get rid of.
Right. So guys, like, you know, I'm talking to our listeners. I don't know how many people in Jake Fisher's mentions, are listening right now. I don't think we have the right to be picky. Like, you do whatever deal is there.
Yeah, you do. You take what you can get at this point. And more importantly, you can't be me and say, I want to move, and then go, oh, well, yeah, but that move's not good enough.
Right. Like
you got at some point you got to rip the Band-Aid off and say, okay, we need to have a move. A move has to be made, and it might not be the perfect move.
Right.
But it's going to be a move.
What is? Like,
there is no
you're not
move.
trading for Sabonis. You're trading for Sabonis' contract, which has 2 years left on it.
Correct.
Whereas Embiid has
you're getting
3.
And then you're sitting on a Sabonis and George where you go, okay, we have a 2-year window to seeing the daylight of max contract players. And if you can get somebody to potentially bite on George, could you do that?
Possibly.
Could you potentially?
Possibly. All right. We'll continue that conversation later on because I think that's an interesting one that
I do too.
People are now being picky about.
Can't do that.
Trade Embiid, but not for that.
Can't do that.
All right. It's time now for today's headlines with Sean Rodman.
Today's headlines with Sean, no relation to Dennis Rodman.
What's up, Dennis?
All right, today's headlines brought to you by Lundy Law. For over 70 years, Lundy Law has been fighting for injured people. If you need them, remember the name, Lundy Law. Your injury lawyers, visit LundyLaw.com. That's LundyLaw.com. All right, first, we're going to stay in the world of baseball today, but let's start out west with the Giants. I don't have audio necessary for this, but because it's a little hard to explain, but if you've seen the Giants outfielders celebrations at the end of the game.
Sean.
They kind of do a little bit of a pump, I guess, towards each other, if you want to put it in those
three of them come together in center field. They put their arms around each other, and they hip thrust. Guys being dudes, right? Just bros being guys.
That's bros being...
By the way, I don't know how true it is. I saw John Boy Media say they were told to put a stop to it.
I did see that too.
That's why they came together in a 3.
They bowed yesterday.
I'm going to say you said that's bros
just
being
guys being dudes.
That's
John.
guys being now guys being dudes of your generation then is far different than guys being dudes in my generation. That's no. You see,
guys being
when you
dudes.
say that, when you hear that expression, so many times I hear that expression. No, that's guys of your generation being dudes.
Do you not hear the sarcasm?
Yeah, exactly.
From me because
I understand. That's really, though, but that's your generation speaking.
Yeah.
Those are these guys. So when I hear that, that's just guys being dudes. That's, yeah. Uh-huh.
Apparently they got put a stop to it. Harrison Bader, trying to bring the fun to San Francisco, I guess.
Yeah, he's bringing something to San Francisco.
Not from me. Not that there's anything wrong with it, John.
No, not that there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
As they would say on Seinfeld.
What we got?
All right, next up, Christopher Sanchez was on MLB Network. Now his translator helped translate this, but they were asking him about Kyle Schwarber and him being red hot. But who would come out and win in a matchup between Sanchez and Kyle Schwarber? And Sanchez replied, "We've got to ask him if he can get a hit off me right now."
Ooh.
Wow.
I like that.
I like that.
Don't you like that?
Yeah, no, I think
Hey, you like that?
I like that.
I like that. Like that. Little feistiness.
Yeah, little feistiness.
I'll
I
take
like that.
I'll take that from Christopher Sanchez.
And by the way, Christopher Sanchez is loosen up. Did you see him last night? Did you watch the early part of the game? I was
watching, but
Okay, he's watching the game last night in the dugout. Christopher Sanchez has a large Dunkin' Donuts iced coffee.
Okay.
I've never seen that before in my life.
Well, they're big Dunkin' up there.
It is.
In Boston.
There's a Dunkin' on every corner. But he's in the dugout on the railing, drinking, as he's watching the game, a large Dunkin' Donuts coffee. Christopher Sanchez has become so relaxed as a major leaguer.
Well,
I love
he got
seeing
to hang out with Ranger Suarez for a few years.
I love seeing it because he's a charming guy, by the way. Really charming.
His career,
person.
we talked about this before. His career is unbelievable. Like, it's actually
he's coming along
such
nicely.
an incredible story. I mean, you make the trade, you trade Curtis Mead to get Christopher Sanchez. And remember, there was confusion. Is Sanchez a long reliever, starter, setup guy?
He was going to be the flex guy. Go bullpen to fifth starter, bullpen.
The organization at one point valued Bailey Falter more than Christopher Sanchez. And then one of very few things I will give Dave Dombrowski credit for, he saw something and locked him up pretty quick. And I think it was right by the Phillies, good on the Phillies for reworking the contract this past offseason. They saw something before a lot of people did, and I'll give them credit for that one. All right, what else?
All right, lastly, let's head up to New York versus the Orioles. And I don't know if you saw this play. A ball was hit to third base, and the Yankees third baseman Mick Mahone went to go turn two, and, well, here it is.
Oh, what a play by McMahon. Nobody at second covering, and everybody's safe. He flew to second to get the force. There was nobody there.
Now, the ball was caught, but the second baseman was at the edge of the grass, basically, and couldn't get over. I haven't seen anything like that in quite some time.
I have not either.
It's brain farts, right? Like, you're so... The 5-4-3 double play, look, he's playing a hot corner. So that's instinct. That's not, you don't look to see if your second baseman's there. You have to rely on your second baseman to be there. So I guess more blame on the second baseman than anybody. What did you call him?
I think I said Mick Mahone, but I meant to say McMahon. I said the wrong name because I looked down to the spelling, and that's how it's kind of spelled. But I know it's McMahon, too. It's more so when I looked down, I read the...
Good old McCone. That was awesome. All right, coming up next. It's a Wednesday. My God, I forgot to mention all show. Shame on me. Scott's going to have me fired. Adam Schefter joins us at 8:05.
We're going to have a meeting about you afterwards, like the Sixers have to have about Embiid.
The Sixers with the Daryl Morey firing yesterday has completely taken over the show, as you can imagine. We have Adam Schefter. It's a Wednesday, so Wednesday was Shefty. He joins us coming up next. Will there be more leaks, schedule leaks, that we can try to figure out with Adam Schefter? And, John, you know what's interesting? The last couple of years, you have asked him, who's the team to keep an eye on?
Yep.
He gave us the Commanders 2 years ago. He gave us the Patriots last year. I wonder if he's seeing now another team. Because he's hit
He does well with it.
NFC title game and Super Bowl appearance.
Usually he waits till training camp.
Right.
He may have an idea for us.
So we'll talk to Shefty coming up next. It is Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
No more Daryl Morey. I'm Sean Rodman, and the Sixers are parting ways with the Vice President of Basketball Operations after 6 seasons. Former Warriors executive Bob Myers will now do the hiring process and lead the next basketball operations. Leader of the Sixers, Tony Jones of The Athletic, joined us yesterday morning on the flaw of the Morey's roster construction.
This was a top-heavy league, right? You get 3 guys at the top of your roster, 3 great guys at the top of your roster. And it's just no longer like that. The way you win in the NBA has changed over those 5 years.
Well, Nick Nurse will return as the head coach next season for the Sixers. The Phillies beat the Red Sox last night 2-1 behind 7 1/3 innings from Zach Wheeler. They're back in action tonight with Andrew Painter on the mound for the Titans and Sonny Gray on the mound for the Red Sox. Eagles are reportedly playing the Jacksonville Jaguars in London this year in Week 5. The full NFL schedule will be released tomorrow night. Adam Schefter joins us next. Tony Jones at 8:30 and Amy Fadool at 9:05. This update is brought to you by Fox One. Fox News is now streaming live on Fox One. Get breaking news, in-depth analysis, and perspectives from the voices you trust all in one place. Stream Fox News on Fox One. See Fox One for complete terms and conditions. Download today. I'm Sean Rodman on the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and The Fanatic.
Now back to Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
All right, coming up at 8:05, it's a Wednesday, which means Adam Schefter will join us. Did I potentially make a major screw-up with some vacation planning? As John Kincade pointed out to me yesterday.
I didn't give you another text. I think you did.
Oh, man.
Because I think Sunday night we will know.
All right, we'll ask Shefty coming up.
But you'll still have plenty of reaction.
Because I am very good at planning vacation around this job.
You are. You're very good at it.
And I may have missed a big one, Sean. We'll talk to Shefty about it coming up in a few minutes. But obviously, the majority of our show today has been reacting to the firing of Daryl Morey. He is out as president of basketball operations for the Sixers. Some of our questions for you, other than just overall reaction, is what do you want the new president to do? First order of business. And then a lot of you out there were upset that Nick Nurse did not go out with him. I'm not sitting here telling you that Nick Nurse is like Larry Brown. I don't think I've seen the real Nick Nurse. I don't think he's had the real opportunity. John, I was looking at the Sixers starters last year, not the season that just ended, where they get to the second round. I'm looking at the team that finished with 24 wins, where a lot of people wanted him fired after that year. You had guys in the starting lineup that aren't in the NBA anymore.
Okay.
And so I don't think Nick Nurse is like Gershon Yabusele started 43 games for the Sixers last year, and he's a DNP in the NBA now. I don't understand the vitriol that's being shown toward Nick Nurse. I'm not sitting here trying to defend the guy because I don't know who he is with the Sixers. But that's the point. I don't know who he is.
Don't you think some of it is let the new guy hire their guy?
Yes, I think that's the most logical response.
Okay, so...
But there weren't people that were just responding with that. They were saying, oh, my God, he stinks too. Get him out of here.
Yeah, that's crazy to me.
I don't know how we know if the guy stinks or not.
I think that's crazy.
Like,
That's pretty stupid.
I don't know. You might disagree with some of the decisions that he made. Like, I had a guy hounding me. Game 3, Sixers-Knicks. It was a Friday night. I was relaxed. The gummy hit. Like, it was great. I was watching the game. And this guy's attacking me. Nick Nurse is an idiot. How come he's not playing Bona more? And I'm like, really? Like, that's like you want to fire Nick Nurse. That's what he tweeted me. Fire Nick Nurse because he's not playing a Dem Bona. Do you want to play a Dem Bona? Like, he stinks too.
I don't want to watch a Dem Bona.
Never. So that's the thing. Like, I get it. He has not been perfect, but I look at the options that he's had to work with when they're healthy. Think about it. Even when Embiid, George, and Maxey are all on the court at the same time, you're turned to the bench and it's, all right, I got cinder block feet Drummond. I have a guy that does not know how to play the game of basketball in a Dem Bona. I have Quentin Grimes, who my boss is obsessed with, who can't score the basketball. I have Justin Edwards, who some days he can light it up. Some days he should not play in the NBA. Like, you look down the bench and I got 45-year-old Kyle Lowry. That's why I can't be as critical as the next guy is about the head coach. I just can't be. Right?
You gotta be fair to him. I'm fine with it. I would have been fine if he went. And I'm fine if he stays. So that's it. I'd be fine. If he had went, I would have understood it. And I'm fine if he stays.
I wonder how the players feel about him. I know Maxey, I don't know if he came out and said it or if somebody reported that Maxey loves Nick Nurse. But then again, Maxey loved Doc Rivers. I think Maxey's just a nice guy. I'm curious how the rest of the team feels about him. Do they think he had a fair shake? That's a whole other conversation. What do we got on the Davis Honda text line? Feel the Davis difference. Check them out in Burlington, 610-632-0975.
Yeah, Elijah in South Philly checks in saying it's not the system. It's the system, not the roster, I should say. That's why guys don't perform the same. Instead of playing into a system, here they're asked to do ISO. Everyone on the team ISOs every time they score except for Oubre.
All right. Well, I mean, again, he's kind of strapped to figuring out how to make it work with Joel Embiid. And there's the nights when Joel Embiid's available, and there's the nights when Joel Embiid isn't available.
That's the problem.
Right? Like, was anybody complaining about the system in games 5, 6, or 7 against the Celtics? Like, no. Boston couldn't stop it. A very well-coached team could not stop it. It's more, to me, it's more roster than system. But I get it. Look, there's people that have their opinions. All right, joining us now, Johnny, as he does every single Wednesday at this time. And it is schedule leak season. Tomorrow
and he's part of the leaking. I mean, seriously.
Tomorrow's schedule release day, and then Friday is my favorite day of the year when I get John Kincade to play W's and L's. Shefty, good morning.
Well, good morning, guys. I just want to say something. John, it's not leaking. It's announcements.
Yes.
There's not been a leak yet.
Oh, yes, because these are announcements. They are strategic announcements.
Correct. And to me, the way that this has turned into something, really, it's amazing. I go back to my Denver newspaper days back in the early 1990s, and when the schedule came out, I advocated to write a big story about the schedule, and I always made a big deal about the opener or a holiday game or whatever it may be, a primetime Monday night game. But this has turned into beyond an event, like everything with the NFL. But and now what they've done is now we get like Monday they say an international game, and then Tuesday is the Sunday night game, and then Wednesday is the prime time. They might as well after the draft, literally every single day, just announce another game from that point on, like every day.
I think it's great. I love it, and I love schedule release day. It's like a holiday to me, so I can't wait for any of it. So it's going to be great.
No, you know what? And like I said, it's a big day for a lot of people planning travel, planning their schedules, all those things. Yeah, and we're coming up. Look, in my mind, the opponents. It's not all that dramatic, but it is interesting, and people can begin to look at. And to me, what it really is, it's an unofficial start to looking ahead to 2026 and all that's ahead for the football season.
So, Shefty, I know that it's not out yet, so I'm guessing read the tea leaves a little bit. One of the things us morning show people always keep an eye on is what time are these games. Eagles had a lot more 1 o'clock games last year than I think we expected because they won the Super Bowl. Do you believe the Eagles will be all over the place in prime time this year?
Last year they were 1 o'clock after winning a Super Bowl. That surprises me.
They had 6 1 o'clock games last year.
Yep.
Yep.
And week three was the biggest shock because it was the Eagles-Rams rematch of the divisional round, and it was a 1 o'clock game. They had 3 straight 1 o'clock games last year, then 2 straight 1 o'clock games midway through the season, and then one later in the year against the Raiders.
As opposed to the Dallas Cowboys, who have played 1 o'clock game in the opener of the last 25 years. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, and they've won. It's been 25 years plus since they won. It's amazing. So are you expecting a lot of prime time for the Eagles?
Look, to me, the Eagles are one of the marquee franchises. There are a lot of stars. There's a lot of intrigue. I don't know how that breaks down in terms of 1-4 prime time. No idea. All I can tell you is I'm going to guess we get 3-4 primetime Eagle games. That's what I would guess.
Well,
right?
I'll bet that the other Cowboys-Eagles game is a Sunday night game on Sunday Night Football. They love to do that. Sunday Night Football has had one of the Eagles-Cowboys games, I think, like 8 out of 9 years. So it seems like that would probably happen. But look, they do it by TV markets and everything. And Dallas and the Giants starting the season for you guys, starting out the year is a big one too. In the beginning of the year, that's like they chose them because of the showcase markets. You get the Giants and you get the Cowboys.
Well, I mean, you can say whatever you want. The Cowboys still are a huge draw. Huge draw. No matter what happens, they could go the next century without winning a Super Bowl, and they would be the opening Sunday night game most years. Like, that's just the way it kind of goes sometimes. So, Eagles are a big draw. Giants are a big draw. That division always has been a big draw, continues to be a big draw, and it'll be reflected in the schedule this week.
Shefty, we're going to ask you to look into your crystal ball a couple of times today. Okay. One of them being about like the next big team because you've hit on the last two. But before we do that, I'm curious. You mentioned the want to see certain teams. Is there going to be a team this year that the league is saying, hey, we really want to circle them. We really want to put them on the national stage a lot? That's not like the traditional Cowboys, Eagles.
Wait. Back to before, Andrew. You said I've hit on the last two teams. Two teams what? I've hit on the last
2 years ago,
amazing what you've
John
done.
asked you 2 years ago, hey, who's the team that not enough people are talking about? You said Commanders. They get to the NFC Championship game. He asked you the exact same question last year. You said Patriots. They go to the Super Bowl.
How about that? That's pretty good. We're giving you your props. Now you just got to go 3 for 3.
Yeah, no pressure.
Hold on. Let me look at the team. You know what? 1 second.
Well,
you know what? Really, it's the draft order, right? It's like almost looking at the inverted draft order and saying, here's the team that I like this year. That's okay. There's one. Hold on. There's one that I like. Hold on.
I mean, this is a
One
big
that I
moment.
like.
This is
like
I
this.
run to my betting app now at this point with Shefty.
There we go.
Well, by the way, if you had run to the betting apps the last couple of years after I said this, you would have won a lot of money.
Would've cashed in
That's what I'm
nicely.
saying. So who do we got this year, Shefty?
Well, I'll say this to you. I'm going to build up to it. The Jets are going to win more games than people think, but that's not my team. The Browns are going to win more games than people think. The Titans are going to be better than people think. But the team that I'm putting into that category right now, of what we're talking about, the characteristics and traits, I'm going to go right now with the New Orleans Saints.
I don't think that's bad. I don't think that's bad. A division that doesn't have a powerhouse in it.
I like what they're doing offensively.
Yes, a team that ascended last year, especially in the second half of the season. That's not a bad one. Keep an eye on that. So Saints,
all right,
run to it with a left.
By the way, I don't even know what is the over/under win total on the Saints. Like, because here's why I say the Saints. You always have to find the good young quarterback that begins to show signs.
Yeah.
I'm guessing they're probably 6.5 or 7.
I'll check for you.
That's what I'm guessing.
Oh, by the way, and the other one you're not going to like, the Giants. The Giants and the Saints would be actually like. I know I mentioned those other teams, but I would put the Giants in that category.
By the way, they
Giants,
both have the exact win total. 7.5 is the over/under for both the Saints and the Giants.
Okay, I'm going to go a dual answer this year.
Whoa.
A dual answer. Okay? And by the way, I had no idea this question was coming, but I'm going to go Giants and Saints both to beat the over.
There you go. Okay, those are good things there.
This is
We like-
important information.
We like that.
Now, speaking of important information, Shefty, I have a big question for you.
Yeah.
I am very good, and John can attest to this, at scheduling out my vacations. Knowing, and I know you have to do the same thing, knowing when football season is, knowing when the NBA playoffs and NHL playoffs are.
Yeah.
I made a major mistake. I have June 1st off.
He's going to be off on Monday, June 1st. Can you believe it?
After all of this.
And you know
I have June 1st off.
Andrew, I got to tell you something. That is a fireable offense.
And
hold on, I'm not done. I'm not done. For as much as you've asked me about that one person, the show has been centered on this guy for the last year.
I know, man.
And then that's like saying you made plans to go to a movie and then you get called away at the 80-minute mark in the final 20 minutes of the movie without getting to see the ending. Are you out of your mind?
Apparently I am. Now I have to ask you, because June 1st, do we do mornings here? Can you, as a favor to me, Shefty, break the news at like 10:01?
That's never happening. He's breaking it on Get Up.
No.
Come on.
First of all, I don't know what time it's going to be breaking.
Yes, you do.
Well, if it's after 10 a.m., then I'm in the clear.
It's going to be broken by the time Greeny has his third cup of coffee. It is broken.
Oh, I don't think so.
Really?
All right.
Well, no, I think it'll come out if I had to guess that the week before. Some people will be trying, the trade looks like whatever, expecting to go. But I'm just telling you, those two teams are not going to agree and finalize that trade until it's June 1st. They're just not.
Right. So do they sleep in? Like it's the summertime?
Are you kidding me?
Does Howie sleep in? And does the deal happen at like 11 o'clock in the morning?
Don't talk about sleeping around this story. Please. There's been enough of that. Let's not do that. Let's keep that out of it.
I would just say to you that I don't know. My guess, just a random, that afternoon.
Okay, good. So I'm in the clear, John. I'm in the clear. Then it's not fireable.
I'll tell you both right now, there is zero chance that Stephen A. Smith starts his show without knowing what that trade is.
By the way, I mean, how do you want to classify it? Like you're saying, well, yeah, of course.
The trade will be out in the morning shows. It'll be out for the morning shows that morning.
But the trade may not be done.
See?
At that point, it may not be done.
So I might be in the clear then.
Adam Schefter right now.
Andrew, Andrew, there's going to be a ton of A.J. Brown talk on June 1st, no matter what. So you're working June 1st, and then you're or you
No, I'm off June 1st. I did the old Friday, Monday.
All right. Lie detector test right now. Do you believe the trade is already done?
No, it's not.
No, it's not done by they haven't officially filed the paperwork. Do you believe the trade is already in place?
I think both teams have a good enough idea of where it's headed. You want it? Yeah. This is what I'm looking at. Yeah. Okay. We're gonna get this worked out. Like, it's one of those. I don't know the exact. I'm just telling you that they were very cognizant of not breaking, especially the Patriots, who have been in trouble with the league before. Like, they're not going to do what needs to get done to have the trade. Like, again, do they both have a strong idea of where it's going, what it's going to take, and that it's yes. That's why we reported the Monday before the draft that he was likely to be traded to the Patriots. I've said to you before, I expect there to be a first-round draft pick involved in that deal. My intuition is that it will be a 2028 one. Okay?
Anything in addition to that, because there are some reports out of the Philadelphia media that there will be an additional pick involved that might be involved in the 2027 draft.
That would be my guess, but I don't know that part. And I don't think the two teams have finalized that part.
Well, finalizing means that they filed the paperwork.
Okay,
that's
whatever.
sort of semantics. That's semantics. A.J. Brown's going to be a Patriot.
I've thought that all along.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
I can't wait to react to it June 2nd.
And June 2nd, there'll be plenty to react
And I can't wait to talk to you June 3rd, Shefty.
Thank you, buddy.
All about it. Thanks for the time, as always, man. We'll talk to you next
Andrew,
week.
You're back June 3rd?
No, he's back June 2nd.
But we'll talk to you June 3rd because that's Wednesday.
God, Andrew.
Don't worry, Shefty. I'll be here. I'll be here.
Okay. I'm not worried. I'm not off June 1st. I know that.
There you go.
All right, we'll talk to you
buddy.
next week. Thanks, Shefty.
Thank you.
See you, buddy. I brought it to your attention
He
yesterday.
texted me yesterday. I was like,
Because
God.
There's talk yesterday with NFL Live that it could be known after midnight on June 1st.
Right, like it's...
Like we could start the show June 1st with it already being known.
I'll call in.
That it'll already be known. My gosh.
Now, when Shefty's saying even if the trade doesn't happen until after your show's over, there's going to be plenty of chatter. What new chatter is there actually at this point? Right? Like,
well, it's going to be the...
there's nothing new. Like, let's say...
No. The new... I'm already telling you what the new chatter is going to be. All the people who have had their heads up their collective backsides.
That was the media's fault.
It's going to be... The media ran AJ out. He never wanted this.
Well, that's why I ultimately took off.
That's what it's going to be. That's going to be the pivot point is going to be, the media again ran off a star athlete.
Well, that's why I took off. I wanted to duck the smoke, dude.
Bull crap on all of you, and you know it.
I didn't want to face the music.
He couldn't be happy. He grabbed that stat sheet. Eagles are 4-0. Happy locker room down in Tampa, and he's going, I'm not getting mine.
Man,
I'm not getting mine,
wait for
and
it
I'm
to
not
end.
happy.
One of the
put
best,
it to an end.
Dude, the best thing about the Sixers and Flyers is the fact that we didn't talk about A.J. Brown for some time. That was the best part. All right, coming up next, speaking of the Sixers, we had Tony Jones on yesterday, our man who covers the Sixers for The Athletic, and he had the great story right after the Sixers got eliminated about what's next for the Sixers, and he made it seem like there's a legit chance that Daryl Morey would be out as the president of basketball operations. Well, we now know that he is, so we'll talk more about it with Tony coming up next. What maybe led to this final straw? Did Daryl Morey still believe he could build around this current group? Why did they make the decision? Well, we'll try to get some answers next. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
How about 40 years staying in business? How about 40 years pleasing customers? How about 40 years being in anything that involves people's money and staying in business? That means you're doing something right. And Dan White & Associates has been doing that. And Dan White & Associates understands that whether you have gray hair like me or whether you're a youngster just trying to start out, learning about budgeting, learning about how to be able to pay for college educations, they can help you with financial planning and retirement planning. In fact, if you're someone like me, they can help you stress test your retirement plan. They can help you find certainty in your financial future. They can make sure that you can create income in your retirement to help to support the lifestyle that you want to live. Look, finances in retirement, it can be really, really confusing and overwhelming. That's why they host educational seminars throughout Pennsylvania, Delaware, and Maryland, where you can go, get comfortable, listen to a conversation. You don't have to be you can be a passive listener. And then you can go and have your own complimentary, no-risk consultation, one-on-one, private conversation. And I promise you, the first conversation will lead to a second, and that leads to a third. And then once you have those conversations, you exhale and you say, I feel better now because I talked to Dan White and Associates. Dan White and Associates, doing it for a long time for the right reasons. They give you that peace of mind. Check out danwhiteandassociates.com on the web and tell them John Kincade sent you.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Daryl Morey is out. I'm Sean Rodman, and the Sixers are parting ways with Daryl Morey after 6 seasons. Former Warriors executive Bob Myers will lead the hiring process for the next leader of basketball operations. Tony Jones, The Athletic, joined us yesterday morning on the one thing that went wrong this season.
The top of the organization to the bottom of the organization, from Daryl Morey on down to the video coordinator. They all wanted to win a championship, but still they weren't pulling in that same direction.
One direction the Sixers will be pulling next year will be Nick Nurse. He will be returning as the Sixers head coach. The Phillies beat the Red Sox last night 2-1 behind Zach Wheeler, who went 7 1/3 innings. Brandon Marsh continues his hit streak at 13 games. Kyle Schwarber hit his 5th home run in consecutive games. Phillies are back in action tonight with Andrew Painter on the mound for the Fightins and Sonny Gray for the Red Sox. Eagles are reportedly playing the Jaguars in London this year in Week 5. That is going to be a road game, though, and we'll find out the full NFL schedule that'll be released tomorrow night. Tony Jones, will join us next. Amy Fadool at 9:05 as well. I'm Sean Rodman on the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
John, give me your thoughts on
reliability, lower cost of operations, and flexibility in meeting customer needs make doing business in Vineland beneficial to your bottom line. What's more, we are able to do so while maintaining our commitment to environmental stewardship. We look forward to helping you achieve your business goals now and for years to come. Vineland, New Jersey, where it's always growing season.
Tee off in Montgomery County, where you'll find over 50 top-notch golf courses perfect for every skill level. Whether you're looking for a quick nine, a championship challenge, or scenic fairways to unwind with friends, Montco has the perfect course for you. Enjoy beautiful landscapes, welcoming clubhouses, and a community that loves the game as much as you do. Learn more about Montco Golf, kid-approved adventures, and getaway ideas at valleyforge.org. That's valleyforge.org.
Here's a tale of Tina searching up and down for decent GLP-1s, but got spun around.
Tail good RX Road, and hey, we got something new. GLP-1 prescriptions, all FDA approved.
Brand name meds, no flags that are red.
Clear pricing from the start. None of those hidden fees in your cart.
Delivered to your door or pick up same day. Darn tootin'.
Save time and money on prescriptions.
I put it to goodrx.com/weight loss. GoodRx is not insurance.
Jane Dawson did something smart. She saved hundreds on auto insurance switching to Progressive. With the money she saved, she got herself a pricey bird feeder with an ultra-high-def camera. Should Jane have just bought a regular bird feeder? Yes. Is it hard for her to admire nature when the camera doubles as the bird's potty? Also, yes. But it's Jane's savings, and if she wants to spend her time watching the digestive habits of the white-breasted nuthatch, we say you go, girl. Switch and see if you could save with Progressive and treat yourself. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
The NBA playoffs are underway, and now you can trade every game on Kalshi. You can also trade on who wins each series, the conference finals, and the championship. Boston is currently trading at 14% to win it all, meaning a $100 trade pays out $667 if they take the title. On Kalshi, you're trading against other people in a live market. No house, no odds makers. And as odds move, you can buy in or out anytime throughout the postseason. For a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use code PASS to get $10 when you trade $10. Kalshi. Kalshi. Trade on anything.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Over 35 years, I've seen it all. Car crashes, work injuries, defective products, medical mistakes, lives flipped upside down in an instant. But I've also seen something else, the power of fighting back, the power of winning. Over $30 billion recovered and counting. Size matters, reputation matters, results matter. There's only one more.
Coming your way now.
You can see our wonderful faces on YouTube. We appreciate everybody that is a part of the show every single day, whether it's on YouTube, the app, or, Johnny, the old-fashioned radio. Love it. All
The
right.
old-fashioned.
The old-fashioned radio, man.
Do you, the majority of time that you listen to content from our station or in radio in general?
Radio.
So you are radio.
Do you know who you're
I am,
do you
and
know who
I'm
you're
not.
talking to?
And I'm not.
I don't know
It's
how to
so
use
funny.
technology.
I do not. By the way, have you seen the Miller Lite soccer ball yet?
No.
Okay. The Miller Lite soccer ball might be the coolest thing I've ever seen. They've launched it for the World Cup. Here is the picture of it.
That's a cool ball.
It's got 12 beers in it.
Oh, nice. Oh, as like you buy it.
And there's 12 beer. It's a 12 beer holder.
I like that.
It is for our YouTube audience. If you haven't seen it, Darren Ravel has listed. It's a match. It's called the match ball.
Okay.
And it holds up to 12 cans.
Can make that work.
It comes with the display stand.
All right.
And it goes on sale on May the 20th at MillerLite.com. It's $19.75.
Yeah, I'm in.
And you buy one. By the way, you can chill it.
Oh, okay.
Too.
That's good.
So you chill cans, stick them in.
That's important information.
Pull out the beer cans. And you can use that when it's not even soccer season.
That's important.
So if you want to watch other, more different sports.
You know what else could be important information?
Yeah.
Talking to our next guest.
Let's do
from
it.
The Athletic.
He might want some. He's had a reason to drink.
We just spoke to him yesterday, and it was the build-up to what ended up being a crazy night in Philadelphia as the Sixers part ways with Daryl Morey as president of basketball operations. Our man Tony Jones has been all over the Sixers beat this year, and he joins us now again, second straight day. Tony, like you said yesterday, it's starting to feel like your family. Well, you are. Like we're brothers in arms at this point.
But it's crazy.
You and I, if people look at us together, they could think that we're twins. Like there is a resemblance with you and me. So Tony, good morning. What's going on, man?
Truly band of brothers.
Damn right. Tony, they part ways with Daryl Morey. So yesterday you were telling us about a lot of the internal conflict that was going on. So I'll ask you for your opinion on the decision to move on from Daryl Morey and whether or not you're surprised by it.
I'm not surprised per se because I think something had to change. You just don't get blown out by the Knicks the way you did, and then the shenanigans that happened at Xfinity on Sunday. And, ownership's there. And I know it's not a knee-jerk decision, but, it was, I do believe it was kind of like the straw that broke the camel. So, you just can't have a series like that and something significant doesn't change. So, something had to happen. I thought that there was absolutely no chance that both Daryl Morey and Nick Nurse came back. It turned out to be Daryl, and and away we go. We see what happens with the new hire, and we see where the Sixers kind of go from here.
Tony, do you believe that there is any scenario where Daryl Morey was forced into signing the extension for Joel Embiid? Because there are some that are trying to push it now that, it really wasn't Daryl Morey who wanted that extension, that it came from somebody else.
No. He signed Joel Embiid. He thought that Joel's health would hold up a lot better than it did. And, and that's kind of the job, right? You have to project one way or another, and in some of these things, if it works out, you're a genius, and if not, then it's one of the reasons why you end up at the end of the day getting dismissed. And I didn't think Daryl did a bad job. Like, I did not think he did a bad job this year. I thought that he worked the edges of the roster really well. I love the Barlow signing. But here's the thing, you go 5 or 6 years, you make the playoffs in the Eastern Conference, and all 6 of those years, the East is pretty wide open, right? Because you have different teams come out every year, and you not only don't win the East during that time, but you don't make the conference finals. You don't get past the second round. So at the end of the day, ownership just felt like that wasn't enough, and that's why we see a change in leadership.
Was that the decision to move on from Daryl Morey, the lack of success, or do you believe that he still thought, hey, I can make this work with Joel Embiid and Paul George, and the organization believed they wanted to go in a different direction?
Well, I can tell you Daryl was disappointed with the decision because he wanted to see it through. And, and he thought I can tell you definitively that he thought he had positioned the Sixers well going into the future, specifically with the Clippers picks, from the James Harden trade and things like that. But, the two things that, ultimately tipped the scales against Morey were the fact that obviously, not advancing past the second round in the past 6 years, and, just the chaotic nature behind the scenes of the last 2 years. So those are the two things. Those are the two major reasons why this change is happening. I thought I think Daryl wants to work again. So I think that he's going to take the year, just kind of assess things, and then when the next job cycle opens up next year, he'll probably jump into that, and I would think that he would get a job somewhere as well. So it was a confluence of things, but ultimately, this is a results-based business, and the results were that the Sixers just have not been good enough when you measure them against the elite levels of basketball.
So when you said see it through, and we're speaking with Tony Jones from The Athletic, does a great job covering the Sixers. Do you mean Daryl Morey wanted to go into the 26-27 season with both Joel Embiid and Paul George? And do you believe that the organization said, no, we can't do that, so they're bringing somebody in to move on from at least one of the two players?
I do not think Joel Embiid would have been 100% guaranteed to be here heading in. Maybe not heading into next season, but at some point during next season. Now, I am not sure that he would not have been here because, his contract is really, really going to be difficult to move if that is the decision. But, unlike, he's been as untouchable can get. And I do not believe that he would have been that level of untouchable heading into or at some point during next season. We'll see what happens with the next hire. It'll be interesting to see who the next hire is, and it'll be interesting to see what archetype the next hire is. Does Bob Myers go a little bit on the younger side, or does Bob Myers go a little bit on the more experienced and mature side? Because, I think this is going to be a difficult job. I don't think it's going to be an easy job to step into. You're inheriting a coach because, the Sixers ownership very much wants Coach Nurse here. You're going to have to evaluate an entire front office. So that means Elton Brand and other pretty really good people in the front office. You're inheriting a tough financial situation that you have to deal with. Now, on the plus side, you're also inheriting Tyrese Maxey and VJ Etchcom. So those are two really good building blocks to inherit, but there's going to be a lot of work to do for whoever is the new hire.
Are you a believer that if Joel Embiid was moved, he would be unhappy to leave Philly, or he'd be maybe potentially relieved?
I think he'd be unhappy to leave Philadelphia. I think, I've covered him for 1 year. But, I think, my opinion in dealing with him is that he's a sincere person who wears his feelings on his sleeve. I think he's one of the most articulate athletes I've ever covered. I think he's super smart and articulate, and I think he says what he means. And, so I take him at his word when he says, I love the city of Philadelphia. I've done a lot for this city, and, I want to spend the remainder of my career here. So, I do hold the opinion that if something were to happen and he were to be moved, that, there would be some lament and regret on his part.
Tony, something really interesting during our conversation with you yesterday was sort of the issues that were going sort of under the surface that not many people knew about publicly with the Sixers. I know this was your first year covering the team, but you've been covering the NBA for a long time. Do you believe the Sixers have culture issues? And do you believe whoever the next guy is, that will be just as big of a job is to fix some of the culture problems the Sixers have if they do indeed have them?
Well, I think just by some of the stuff that got public this year, I think there's no question they have culture issues. Just some of the back and forth, publicly between Embiid and Morey, some of the reactions to the trade deadline, so, it's, one thing that I said before, and I'll say it again, no NBA team is going to be 100% clean when it comes to that. But, they have to, you have to be as much on the same page as possible. And I think it was clear that not everybody has been on the same page, at least this year. So, the person, the new hire that comes in is going to definitely have to deal with that, and definitely have to deal with, evaluating the front office. I do believe, that Coach Nurse is going to be under some pressure to win on a significant level next year, just because of the fact that it's going to be a new GM, and that's the game, right? Any new guy that comes in is at some point going to want to hire his own head coach. So, I think that Nick Nurse is going to be under some pressure to prove, why he should be able to be here or allowed to be here for the long term. So I think that, that's going to be something, and then, you just have to deal with, what it takes to get everybody on the same page internally for this team to ascend or to try to ascend to the top of the Eastern Conference.
Well, Tony, just because the Sixers offseason started doesn't look like your offseason has now that big news like this happens.
Tony, we want to have you come in and hang out with us some morning, so we're going to try to collect a date where you can come on in and hang out. We'll get you some breakfast and try to make you feel welcome.
Does that sound good?
No problem, man. I appreciate you guys. You guys have been great to me. I thank you so much.
Thank you, buddy.
You're the man, Tony. It's been a pleasure having you on all season long. We appreciate the time. We'll talk to you again soon.
Absolutely.
There he is, Tony Jones from The Athletic. All right, a lot to unpack there. Coming up next, you heard me bring up the culture thing. Johnny and I were talking about this a little bit yesterday, like just how important culture is. Sometimes it seems like it's an overused term, but then there's some organizations that pride themselves on it.
And talk about it a lot.
Like one in our backyard.
Yep.
In the Philadelphia Eagles.
But do they have it?
We'll see. I also found the Embiid part really interesting.
I do too.
Tinfoil cap theory coming up next. Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
Okay, look, I'm going to tell you, if something feels off, go to the doctor. And if you get a cancer diagnosis for you or for someone in your family, go see the consultants in medical oncology and hematology. Because the best endorsement I could ever give you is that Dr. John Sprandio Jr. and the team at CMOH saved my life. Got me a quick consultation, clear communication, and an individualized plan that showed me exactly what to expect. They have 3 convenient locations, and their mainline cancer center in Newtown Square is absolutely spectacular. But they all share common DNA with free parking, easy access, no elevators, no garages to deal with. Most importantly, they give you seamless care. And as an independent practice, they allow you to move amongst healthcare systems so you can have pick and choose among the best doctors and best caregivers across the area. They'll quarterback your care. And I can tell you this, their winning percentage, well, it's excellent. And I'm a perfect example of it. I was feeling desperate and very, very concerned. They put my mind at ease. They led me through. And I can tell you today, I couldn't tell you any more than to choose the consultants in medical oncology and hematology. Visit CMOH.org and take that first step towards you getting the same peace of mind that I have today.
Inside the Bird. Phillies sports talk. 97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
All right, still to come. Amy Fadool will be joining us coming up at 9:05. She was in studio with us yesterday, and she would have parted ways with somebody, and the Sixers did that last night. So we'll get her reaction to the decision to move on from Daryl Morey. Now, I don't know. You could tell me if I'm reading too much into this, Johnny. When we had Tony Jones on just now and talked to him about, why was Morey fired? Because there's always going to be something. Is it just, hey, they came short of the goal, and so that's why I got fired? Or did they have some sort of meeting, and did he address his plans? Now, my thought, and you and I talked about this earlier, was did Daryl Morey say to Josh Harris, hey, I can make this work with the guys that we have. Give me an off season to try to add to this bench or add to some of the players, right? Like, that's what I thought would be the conversation. When I asked Tony basically that, like, hey, did Daryl Morey say, I want both Embiid George here, and, that was the difference of opinions, and that's what's led to his firing.
And going into that meeting, if he really believes that, he knows if the Sixers say, no, hell no, get out of here, he knows he gets $12 million.
But was it the other way around? This was Tony Jones responding to that question.
I do not think Joel Embiid would have been 100% guaranteed to be here heading in, maybe not heading into next season, but at some point during next season. I am not sure that he would not have been here because, his contract is really, really going to be difficult to move if that is the decision. But, unlike, he's been as untouchable as untouchable can get. And I do not believe that, he would have been that level of untouchable heading into or at some point during next season.
Now, that was in response to Morey.
Correct.
And there's been this disconnect between Morey and Embiid a lot this year.
Yes.
Is there a possibility, and look, hopefully somebody writes the article on it, is there a possibility that Morey said, hey, I'm going to try to trade Joel this offseason, and ownership said no?
Yes. Yes. I don't think you're reading too much into it.
So does ownership want Embiid to still be on the Sixers?
I don't think that's outlandish.
That's what I got. That's what I got out of that answer.
How about this? I don't think that's outlandish. No. I don't think that's an outlandish. I don't think you're reading too much into it. I don't think that is like tinfoil hat or anything like that. That is a very reasonable belief that could be the case.
Which that's not going to make anybody happy. Because everybody wants to move on from. Literally, we have a poll right now. Poll of the day brought to us by Dr. Abadan Appel and Iron Mountain Men's Health. And 62.5% say they want the first order of business for the new Sixers regime to be to trade Joel Embiid. 30% said PG. 8% said run it back one more time. That's what I got out of that clip. Was that Daryl?
I didn't hear it the same way you did. And I wondered why you ran out of here and were like, you heard something.
I wanted to grab the audio.
And then when you play it and I hear it that way, I hear it how your ears heard it. And I don't think that's crazy.
Because it did not come off as the ownership group once Embiid traded. Daryl Morey said, no, I can make this work. It seems like the other way around where Daryl Morey said, I'm going to try to trade him. And ownership may have put the kibosh on it. But that's not good either.
No. No. But it's crazy, and I'm telling you, I hope that the scenario that you put out there is not true.
Yeah, I hope not. And this is coming from a big Embiid guy.
I hope that's not true.
Enough is enough at this point.
I hope it's not true.
It's been 12 years.
Let's hope that that's not the case.
All right.
Wow.
How about that?
That's not bad, though.
All right. I thought I caught something.
I didn't catch it that way. And then I listened to what you said, and I go, oh, okay. I could believe that. Well, first off, it's not tinfoil hat.
Right.
So that's good.
I would just be surprised if the organization was like, no, we want to keep him.
I would be too. But
Look, the Bucks and Giannis have been doing it.
Could it be?
Dame in Portland did it for a long time. Organizations fall in love with their star players. Marketability, blah, blah, blah.
Never know.
All right, coming up next, Amy joins us at 9:05. Before we bring up Amy, we bring up the culture discussion. And whether or not we overuse the term, overvalue it. We've seen it work for some teams. Some teams have like the worst culture and they win. Is it overvalued? We'll discuss that next here on The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
No more Daryl Morey. I'm Sean Rodman, and the Sixers are parting ways with the Vice President of Basketball Operations after 6 seasons. Former Warriors executive Bob Myers will lead the hiring process for the next leader of basketball operations. Tony Jones of The Athletic joined us yesterday as well as this morning. And yesterday, he said one flaw that Morey had was roster construction.
This was a top-heavy league, right? You get 3 guys at the top of your roster, 3 great guys at the top of your roster. And it's just no longer like that. The way you win in the NBA has changed over those 5 years.
Nick Nurse will return as the head coach next season for the Sixers. Phillies beat the Red Sox last night 2-1 behind Zach Wheeler, who went 7 1/3 innings. They're back in action tonight with Andrew Painter on the mound for the Fightins and Sonny Gray for the Red Sox. The Eagles are reportedly playing the Jaguars in London this year, which will be Week 5, although that will be a road game for the Eagles. The full NFL schedule will be released tomorrow night. Adam Schefter joined us earlier, and Tony Jones just a moment ago. In case you missed those, you can listen to that on 975thefanatic.com. And Amy Fadool will join us next. This update is brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Every now and then you find a deal where you get more and pay less. Now that's a good deal. That's Straight Talk Wireless on Verizon's 5G network. Find it exclusively at Walmart and StraightTalk.com. I'm Sean Rodman on the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and The Fanatic.
What Andrew and John have to say. Don't worry, we will. But first, let's hear what they got into earlier today on Kincade and Salciunas.
What is the number one task for whoever this new president of basketball operations is going to be that you want them to attempt to complete?
Find the first major contract you can move. Show me that the log jam can start to be shifted around.
According to Josh Harris in his statement, Bob Myers will lead the process of identifying a new leader, and I believe his experiences in constructing 4 NBA championship teams will be a valuable resource to our organization. A lot of people were making the joke on social media yesterday. It's going to be really funny when Bob Myers interviews all these people and go, none of them are as good as me.
I didn't trust Daryl Morey anymore. I didn't trust his judgment. And there are people who are going to try to spin to you that the only reason they got rid of Jared McCain was because of Daryl Morey was being forced to get under the tax. So that's how they were ducking the tax. That is such a BS answer.
So just because you cleaned up other messes doesn't mean you can then go into another aisle and pull down all the pickle jars and spill them all over the aisle and be like, that's all right. I cleaned up those other ones, though.
Well, it's like you talked about with Coop the other day. Is Coop cleaned up a mess at your house, and you were very proud of him, but Coop went and made another mess. You don't applaud cleaning up the one mess and creating another mess.
Now, back to the show.
Yeah, so as you can imagine, with the news dropping last night, that's what we've been talking about the most today. Daryl Morey out as president of basketball operations. We'll speak with Amy Fadool to get her thoughts on it coming up in a few minutes. Friend of the show, Amy Fadool, of course. And now I'm wondering, does the organization want to keep Joel Embiid? And that's why Daryl Morey got fired. Because now I'm just amazed by what Tony Jones just had to say to us as he joined us earlier in the 8 o'clock hour. You can watch it all on 97.5thefanatic.com's YouTube page. We'll see what happens, man. And we're asking the audience, what do you want the first order of business to be? And majority of people are saying trade Joel Embiid. It's just, people are done with it. Is the organization done with it?
I would say them welcome to the party. Right. Glad to have you finally join us in 2026. Wish you had been here in 2022, 2023. We could have been on with this. It could have been Sunday, could have been or what was the last game? Sunday.
Mother's Day.
Monday. You have Mother's Day, another Mother's Day massacre. It could have been the last game of Joel Embiid's contract.
If they didn't give him the extension that nobody asked for.
And then you could have seen them move on from a Paul George contract, potentially. And we could have been talking about real opportunity, real freedom, real movement. But we don't. We don't have that.
No, we do not have that. Now, culture is a really interesting conversation.
It is.
Because Tony, who joined us yesterday also, was talking about a lot of the internal conflicts that the team was having. And he put it pretty bluntly, like, of course Embiid's going to be able to get away with things more so than, like, the 12th guy on the bench. That's just how it works. And I think that's also, like, a real-life thing outside of sports. Like, I know people that have gotten away with things that I can't get away with.
I mean, we've worked with them over the years?
Absolutely.
Here's what I would say to you, though, is there's many athletes who have the clout to be able to do that who don't take advantage of it.
Right.
Tom Brady's one of them.
Yeah, sure.
Tom Brady in his playing career was one of those guys who was the first in, last out.
Yeah, cyborg. Just like kind of Jalen Hurts is.
There's some people, Jalen Hurts is one of them. Yeah, he is.
He's a Super Bowl champion. He doesn't do it.
He doesn't do it.
A lot of it
some
is
people are
DNA, mentality.
Some
all
people
that
are professionals. I call it professionalism. Some people aspire for greatness in life. Some people aspire for the easiest path in life.
Sure. Now, how important is culture to winning, right? Like, I know it's a term that's used a lot. Look, the Heat culture is something that is talked about all the time.
All the time.
And for a while, it meant something. Right now, it doesn't. They're a bottom feeder in the Eastern Conference. The Eagles talk about culture all the time. And hell, it's worked.
Do you think, though, the Eagles' culture is real or fake? I believe the Eagles' offensive line has culture. The offensive line room has culture.
I would say yes. I'm not going to say one person being very active on social media. Part of culture for me, John, is keeping things in-house.
Which, do the Eagles do that?
One person did not.
Right.
And so I can't put A.J. Brown's social media actions toward an organization. That's one guy.
I got you. What I would say to you is that it's not just one guy when it comes to the Eagles. Let me give you C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
Well, you can just look at his career.
But I understand. Is that the bottom line is this. The Eagles, when we talk about culture with the Eagles have a culture as an organization, but The Eagles' culture hasn't always been fantastic. They've got guys in there they've had guys in and out of that locker room that are sort of dopes.
Sure.
That are out for themselves, that are not team guys. And the team,
but you don't look at that organization as a mess. Like I look at the Jets.
No.
Like the Jets are a mess. The Jets don't have good culture.
But here's what I would say to you is, have the Eagles been able to sustain their greatness? Or have the Eagles
It's hard to become a dynasty in any sport.
Okay, but the Chiefs would argue that, the Patriots would argue that in the modern era.
Yeah, no, I'm saying it's hard. I don't think they're saying that was an easy task for them to do that.
I don't think they made it look hard. Do you?
I don't think dynasty is the bar for sustained success.
No, but I'm just saying to you is that
the Phillies haven't won a damn thing, but they have sustained their success getting to the playoffs 4 straight years and getting to a World Series, getting to an NLCS.
I got you. I just am saying to you is I don't think that the Eagles have had a problem sustaining excellence. When the Eagles win big, their biggest, the next year is a clunker. Every year they've gone to a Super Bowl, the next year has been a clunker. And that's weird to me. It's something weird.
Yeah.
It's something that doesn't play to culture.
Or
it's
the culture is so good that these coaches go elsewhere because people want some of the Eagles. Like, look at the front office movement. There's people from Howie Roseman's
everywhere,
not coaching executive tree that are now everywhere because people want some of that.
Matt Ryan has built the Falcons organization into the Eagles South.
Yeah,
he's rated them. He's absolutely rated Howie Roseman. He wants to recreate Howie Roseman's magic.
Yeah,
down with the Falcons,
and you can't blame him. All right,
it's
so
the way it works.
We'll continue this discussion. We'll ask our next guest about it as well. But there's a lot to unpack. She was in studio with us yesterday, Johnny, as she always is on Tuesdays. We have Tuesdays with Amy and Fridays with Fadool. And yesterday when we had her in studio, we were talking about whether or not the Sixers needed to make change, and we all were on the same page.
Like it was like change for change's sake.
Yeah, change needed to happen, and change did indeed happen. Amy, good morning. Your overall opinion and thoughts when the news came out yesterday that the Sixers decided to part ways with Daryl Morey.
Good morning. I missed you guys. I guess my initial thought was a bit of a surprise, not because, it was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they fired the GM, but because there wasn't an addendum to the release or the news that the head coach was also out, just because those are two very connected parts of any kind of team, whether it's this team or any team. So there was a little bit of a surprise that, it was like, okay, well, Daryl Morey's out, but Nick Nurse is returning for his 4th year. And I think we mentioned, or maybe I mentioned it yesterday, that's what happened when Daryl Morey got here. He still had 1 year left of Doc Rivers. So it's interesting to me, and I think when everybody objectively looks at it, we shouldn't say no one. I wouldn't think a lot of people would have been like, well, yeah, you absolutely should have fired Nick Nurse. No one's going to look at that team and be like, who really cost this team? It was Nick Nurse. So I think that's where
I will tell you though, sense. Amy, not to cut you off, there are people, and so far on the show today, we're reacting to everything, and one of the reactions is Nick Nurse staying, and you and I look at it very similarly. John looks at it similarly. Like, yeah, sure, he hasn't been perfect, but how can you really point to his job and say he's been a disappointment or a failure? Like, I can't do that. I don't think that would be fair to him. But trust me, I got immediate text messages from people saying he stinks.
Which I get. There's people that are just angry. I think they're angry the way, and as they should be, the way that the season ended with an absolute debacle of a series against the Knicks, where you had one game that you thought you were going to be able to win when you look back on it. So I think that, when we were talking yesterday, like, why would you move on from Daryl Morey? What were the pros and the cons? And I was talking, and I said, well, the pros are that he was able to move off, and you had the excellent analogy about Cooper cleaning up his messes. He cleaned up other messes, and that is something that's very important because the next general manager is going to have to do some of that as well. But the missteps that Daryl Morey made obviously outweighed any positives that he brought here. The positives of some of the drafts
the positives of cleaning up the messes of some of the contracts and some of the players, all good things. But then you look at the missteps of not signing anybody to fill out your bench. The bench was a real problem. Not signing or taking these contracts and having them go a little bit too long for the players that are the age they are, i.e. Paul George. And then obviously the biggest one I think that's going to be glaring this year is Jared McCain trade, not turning that into something. If it was just ducking the tax, that would be one thing. I don't believe that. I think that was part of it. Or not, avoiding the tax or getting under so you don't have to have that tax. That's obviously an edict from the ownership, but he believed, I think, that they were going to turn that into something. They had assets and they were going to turn it into something, and it just never came to fruition. And I know we had Tony Jones on yesterday, and he said there were several deals that thought that were going to come to fruition because of that trade, and they didn't. So unfortunately, things like that, when you see an organization that lets players go below market value, when it turns out what they've become, that's going to be a really indictment onto the front office, and in this case, the president of basketball operations.
When you look at the decision, too, when Daryl Morey left, did you expect that a new head of basketball operations was going to be named?
No, not right away, John, just because I think that they want to go ahead and make their due diligence, because I think it's probably not the only changes that are going to come. It's obviously the biggest one, but it's going to have a trickle-down effect, because then you're going to have that president of basketball operations bring in their own people. Right? Not necessarily the coach per se, but the scouting department and the assistant general manager types. So I think that you don't want to have that, I don't know that you would have been able to have that ready to go 3 days after the season. So let's say they've already made this decision, on Mother's Day, like Mother's Day night, they're like, all right, well, he's got to go. That was just on Sunday. Today's Wednesday. I don't know that that was enough runway for them to be like, okay, well, we want this guy. There's a lot of really good young executives out there in the NBA with some really successful teams. You're going to hear some really great names, I'm sure, in the next couple of days. Obviously, in Bob Myers, they've got a great guy that's trying to lead the search. He is a very, very well-respected executive in the NBA. He's not going to – that's not his role now. He's not interested in that, from what I understand. But it's a good person to help lead the search, because he can recognize young talent. He had some great success out there in Golden State.
So, Amy, you mentioned Tony Jones. We love him so much, just like we love you. We wanted to have him on a second straight day as well. And I asked him, like, just point blank, hey, did Daryl Morey get fired because he wanted to keep Embiid and Paul George together? And he made it seem like Embiid wasn't a lock to come back if Morey was still here. Is there a chance that the organization wants Embiid here, and there's been the discourse between Embiid and Morey where they weren't on the same page necessarily this past year? Is there a world where the organization said, well, what do you mean you're going to try to trade Joel? He's the face of this franchise.
Yeah, that would be interesting to have an ownership group latch on so much to a player that it would change front office. I don't know that that would be a complete reason, but to say that it's not a reason, if the front office, let's be honest about it. So when the Sixers were trying to build their new arena, I think they wanted a face of their team, and they had a face of their team. They had an MVP at that time. He was a one-time runner-up and a one-time winner, and the best player. When Joel Embiid is healthy, there is no one that can say he's not a top player in the league. He just is. You see it all the time. We've seen it with our own eyeballs. So when when the team was trying to build their new arena and get that, the excitement around that, they needed to have a player to put the face of it. And I don't know that they had thought at the time that it was going to be Tyrese Maxey. Obviously, I think now it is, but it was Joel Embiid. So the ownership, to say that the ownership is, wants to keep their star player, I think is probably not far-fetched, because I think that Joel Embiid is their star player for them, and that was who they were, back in 2023, 2024, when they were looking at the new arena. It was like, well, here's our guy. Here's our reigning MVP. He's one of the best players in the league. He's our guy. So I don't think Tony's, reaching too far when he says if the ownership was really, keen on keeping Joel Embiid, and that could have been some kind of, rift between the front office and the ownership group to keep one of the star players. I don't know that it would have been a deciding factor because I think if you look at it from any, and I would hope Bob Myers and any other basketball voices in there would say, like, listen, it's all well and good until it's not. Right, it all works out well until it doesn't. And Joel Embiid has obviously been a tremendous player here, but if you feel like you can get something for him, a basketball person is going to tell you this is what you can do. Doesn't mean you have to do it, just means you can do it. But if there's a thought process, if that was an absolute no, there is no discussion about it, then it could have been one of the reasons. I don't know that it would have been enough. I do think some of the missteps for the lack of bench production, the lack of signings for anybody under 35. Let's face it, they've signed a bunch of guys that were over 35. And then also, I think the Jared McCain deal, I think those are the three that kind of were the death knell.
Are you surprised that our poll question today clearly shows that at least our listenership here in the morning is really sort of anxious to move on from Joel Embiid?
It's overwhelming. I haven't seen the poll results. Is it overwhelming?
Well, Andrew, you identify.
Poll of the day brought to us by Dr. Donna Pell and Iron Mountain's Health, of course, Amy.
Yes.
It's strong all 4 hours here in the morning.
Standing strong all day long.
The first order of business for the new Sixers regime should be, and the options are attempt to trade Embiid, attempt to trade PG, run it back one more time. Believe it or not, run it back the least amount of votes, Amy.
That's shocking.
Shocking.
But 63% say trade Embiid to just 30% for Paul George.
I honestly, I think because this is a smart fan base and you guys have smart listeners, I think it's probably because they think that's the most viable option.
Okay.
To be honest,
that makes sense.
That's probably why. Because if I'm selling it, if I'm out here and I'm selling Paul George, I'm trying to point to one thing. I'm trying to point to his play in the Celtics series. That's all I'm pointing to. I can't point to anything in the regular season. I can't point to certainly the next series. I can point to the Celtics series, which is a big thing to point to, but that's all I've got. If you look at Paul George the entire season, he had success, but it wasn't consistent success. It wasn't the first half and the second half. It was either or. And if it was a complete game, which was very rare, then the next couple of games were not very good. He was very inconsistent all year long. And then obviously he missed 25 games. He is 36 years of age. So those are a couple of knocks as far as trying to move that contract. Joel Embiid obviously has one more year on his contract, but the viability of him and the lure of him is higher than it is for Paul George. So my assumption would be, and I don't know if I'm right because I can't talk to the people that are voting, would be that they think that's a more viable contract to move. You could get more for Joel Embiid than you can get Paul George. So that's why that would be the first order of business of those three choices.
All right, last thing, Amy. I know not everybody totally respects Bill Simmons. But I think sometimes he says some interesting stuff, which is why I check out his podcast every once in a while, sometimes for the laughs, sometimes for the basketball takes, right? And he had a take yesterday after Morey, or a question after Morey got fired. And I'm curious to get your answer on it because it really kind of put my brain in a pretzel. But then again, me and John and you, I think sometimes cooler heads prevail. Like, I'm not partying in the streets that they fired Daryl Morey. No. I realize that he did some good things here. The question was, are the Sixers as a franchise in a better place today than they were when he first got here?
That is a very interesting question. I'm sure he's asking some of the same questions for his beloved Celtics because there's some turmoil up there.
Yes.
Are they in a better place? The quick answer is probably not because of what the general manager and president of basketball ops and all those guys are walking into is a pretty tough situation as far as it goes monetarily wise, trying to build a roster, and I think I told you guys this yesterday, they're the only team next year that has 3 players $40 million plus. They're the only team in the NBA. There's 30 teams out there, and this is a team that had to scrape through and get into the play-in tournament, and they've got that much money tied up. So it's a very tough situation. So to say they are in a better place, or I think they're probably in the same place.
His point for the better side was before he got here, no Maxey, no Edgecombe. You have you did not have a first-round pick in this draft. Now you do. Obviously, you trade McCain for it. You have the Clippers unprotected pick. You were able to get off of Simmons to get to Harden to get to that 2028 unprotected pick. And so, there is a side where there's a legit case for the other side.
there's absolutely positives, and I think that people that if you're like you said, I would hope people aren't dancing in the streets. One, because a person's out of their job. It's not like he completely doomed this franchise. This is not the GMs of the past where it was like you're coming in, you're looking at this and being like, this is a complete mess. I don't even know where to begin. There's so many messes and so many fires to put out. It's not a great situation as far as how they have to build a roster, given the fact that they have so much money tied up, but it doesn't make it untenable. So he did some really good moves, moving off players that did not want to be here. He made some mistakes as far as not signing guys, not bringing back guys that I think are going to, they could have been helpful on the bench. But the draft has been a no-brainer for them with their first-round picks. The 2 first-round picks that they've had in Tyrese Maxey and B.J. Edgecombe have been tremendous players. That's a buildable backcourt for the future. So to say they're worse off, I think, is completely disingenuous. They're probably in the same place because they still have some messes, but it's not like an egregiously better place or an egregiously worse place. It's probably just the same. They're in the same place.
That's terrible.
Yeah, I know. And
good,
by the way, 6 years later, Amy, thank you as always.
Amy.
We'll see you on Friday.
Thanks, guys.
Fridays with Fadool. Can't wait.
Bye, guys.
There she is. Amy Fadool from
That's great
NBC
stuff.
Sports Philadelphia.
It's really interesting, though, is that you hear Tony talk, who covers them on a daily basis. You hear Amy talk, who covers them on a daily basis. But you hear different perspectives on the same questions.
Yeah.
It leaves us with it's a spider. It's an octopus of answers.
Can I tell you something honest? When I did my reaction video for the station yesterday,
Which, by the way, was very good. Appreciate it.
yeah, it took me 10 takes.
What?
And I'm usually one take Andrew.
What do you mean it took you 10 takes?
Because it's complex. Like, I had to fit it in 90 seconds.
Okay.
Daryl Morey did do good things here.
He did.
He also did some really bad things here.
So you were like feeling like you were being unfair to him or something? Tell me about it.
All right, I'll explain more
about
coming
it.
up next. Also coming up next, another article that I need to shoot down now, John.
Uh-oh.
Because I can't have fans reading it and going, you know what?
I'll buy into that.
I need to shoot it down immediately.
Okay.
Sorry, Mr. Levick. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Sixers are going in a new direction. I'm Sean Rodman, and the Sixers are parting ways with Daryl Morey after 6 seasons. Former Warrior executive Bob Myers will lead the hiring process for the next leader of basketball operations. Tony Jones joined us yesterday of The Athletic, and he said yesterday morning one thing that went wrong this season.
The top of the organization to the bottom of the organization, from Daryl Morey on down to the video coordinator. They all wanted to win a championship, but still they weren't pulling in that same direction.
The Nick Nurse will be back next season, so that's one direction they'll be heading into, but they will have a new leader of basketball operations. The Phillies beat the Red Sox last night 2-1 behind Zach Wheeler. He went 7 1/3 innings. Phillies are back in action tonight with Andrew Painter on the mound for the Titans and Sonny Gray for the Red Sox. Eagles will be playing the Jacksonville Jaguars in London this year. That'll be Week 5 on October 11th. That is now official. The NFL full schedule will be released tomorrow night, and this update is brought to you by Foreman Mills. Foreman Mills, 2201 Cotman Ave is coming. Grand opening Thursday, May 14th. First 100 adults in line get a free gift card. I'm Sean Rodman on the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and The Fanatic app.
Coming up at 10, Middays with Marks. Now more of Kincade and Salciunas.
97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
The final hour of Kincade and Salciunas is presented to you by The Bagster. It's a dumpster in a bag. You can get yours today at Home Depot and Lowe's. You need details? Go to Bagster.com.
All right, going into the break, sort of pulled you behind the curtain a little bit, about this, some of the things that we do, and then John wanted me to sort of explain a little bit more.
Because you took how many times?
It took me at least 10 takes.
And it surprises me because I've watched you do them. We do these.
Oh, yeah.
And we usually do them like it's one take.
Yeah, one take Andy, man.
You just give your opinion. When we do post-show headlines, when we do things, we never do a second take unless that rat Dylan McKinnon, like his phone doesn't work or something.
Yeah, no.
We love you, Dylan.
We do this job live. We are on the air. So when we say stupid things,
just let it go. We just let it go.
Stupid things.
Yeah, and we do plenty of that.
So yesterday, when the news breaks, we wanted there's Dylan shaking his head behind you.
Love you, Dylan.
I wanted to send Dylan a reaction video so that they could post it on the station's Instagram and Twitter, #digital content, baby. And it took me 10 takes.
I can't get over it. Were you stumbling over your words, or were you? Here's what I want to know. And the question I had for you, that didn't ask you during the break, were you stumbling over words? Were you worried about your words?
Oh, no, I'm not worried about my words.
Well, no, did you? No, when I'm saying about worried about your words, did you feel like your words were being too harsh? Did you think you were like, wow, I don't like that I came with that opinion? Because that's not you. You usually just fire.
So, first and foremost, doing it live on the radio, we have the luxury of a 20-minute segment at the beginning of each hour, a 12-minute segment, second part of the hour, and an 8-minute segment at the end of the hour, right?
Absolutely.
So I can say a lot more in much more time, whereas these videos need to be 90 seconds or less.
All right.
That was difficulty number one.
Okay.
Because the story of Daryl Morey with the Philadelphia 76ers deserves more than 90 seconds.
It's complex, but it's just your immediate reaction.
Yeah, there are so many people. I saw social media yesterday. There were people that were legitimately partying,
dancing on his grave.
And I'm not doing the whole that's unfair because he's a human. Amy brought that up, and she's right.
Well, here's what I would say to that. Here's where I'm going with that. He's due $24 million going out the door.
He's fine.
I can tell you this. Daryl Morey will be perfectly fine. He will write a new screenplay. He will enjoy time with his lovely wife and enjoy his passion projects and anything else he does.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
He'll watch General Hospital today. I know that. I'll check in with him on that, and everything will be fine. He's going to be fine.
Do a
you don't have to worry about him.
Failure. He stinks.
Right.
I've done that with other players and coaches, but with Daryl Morey,
you can't do that with Daryl.
If we went through chapter verse Daryl Morey,
okay.
First order of business. One of our questions today is, what's the first order of business for the next president? And the majority of you on the Dr. Avedon Appel Iron Mountain Men's Health poll is to trade Joel Embiid. When Daryl Morey got here, they had one of the worst contracts in the NBA at the time in Al Horford, and he was able to get off of that contract.
Which I, by the way, thought he had no chance to do.
He then was able to trade. If you remember, I've said this to you, one of the biggest turning points, in my opinion, of the post-process was J.J. Redick stabbing the Sixers in the back, going to New Orleans because that's closer to Brooklyn than Philadelphia, apparently. And then you have Josh Richardson in your starting lineup. So you have now two guards that can't shoot.
And Ben
Simmons and Josh Richardson.
And he did stab them in the back.
He finds a way to trade Josh Richardson, which was not his move, for Seth Curry, who fit perfectly with this basketball team. Then Ben Simmons cries because Doc Rivers says, I don't know, when asked if you can win a championship with Ben Simmons as a point guard. It wasn't, can you win a championship with Ben Simmons? It was as a point guard. Doc Rivers says, I don't know. And Ben Simmons soils himself when he hears that, comes to practice, has a cell phone in his pocket, and Daryl Morey has to try to trade him, and he got James Harden out of it.
When everybody knows you have to trade somebody, it's not easy.
No, and oh, by the way, James Harden, say what you want about him, game 6 and 7, I get it. That game 1 against Boston, you don't have a game 6 and 7 if not for James Harden.
No.
Joel Embiid wins MVP because of James Harden. It's the only true point guard that he has ever played with in his NBA career. And it actually kind of makes it even more amazing that he has the numbers that he has over his career. So Daryl Morey did a lot of great things early on, and that's what makes it so complex. Because the problem is,
so that's what you were worried about with your.
I just try to be fair.
No, you do, But the immediate reaction, if I said to you right now, I want to hear you right now. Don't do it 90 seconds. Do it 60 seconds. Immediate reaction, Andrew, and there's no cut this time. You've had time to sleep on it.
The Sixers made the move that they needed to make by parting ways with Daryl Morey because you can't clean up one mess and then create a whole other mess. That was the point that I made yesterday, too. Like, Daryl Morey set this franchise in a spot where you're wondering when can they dig out of this. And one of the big debates that you and Connor were having yesterday was, well, if nobody can dig out of it, then what's the point of moving on? That's the problem. Like, he created the mess. I'm going to need somebody to come in here and try to clean it up. That's any business that's out there.
Absolutely.
That's not just sports. So it was a necessary move to move on from Daryl Morey. But to paint the picture of Daryl Morey's tenure in Philadelphia being some colossal failure, I can't totally agree with that. He set them up in a bad spot.
No, he did.
But the first 4 or 5 years, I thought he made some decisions that I celebrated.
I think he did too. And I think that that's good. And I'm glad to see you wanted to be fair. And that's awesome. And you usually are very fair. So that's pretty par for the course for you. But to me, Daryl Morey, and by the way, I hate that thing too of, well, he's a human being. Don't look.
Yeah, he's making a lot of money.
And yes, it does matter. Now, if people are being obnoxious jerks about it, that's different. But if you're just talking about his job performance, you can say, hey, give him a little grief. He's all right. And by the way, Daryl, and a lot of people won't understand, Daryl's a real big boy. He can handle it. Daryl Morey's not losing sleep about somebody saying something.
No, he'll get a job in 2 years.
Daryl Morey is not going to lose any sleep over being critiqued or being how he's going to be judged. He'll be just fine.
Now, will Noah Levick lose sleep?
What did Noah?
Noah covers the Sixers for NBC Sports Philadelphia. We had him on just last week.
Okay.
And I'm not doing this to attack Noah. I'm just doing this because I can't do what we did with the Phillies, where a lot of people gobbled up some of the things that were being said.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, this is a good club, and they are just one throw away.
Oh, yeah.
And they should bring everybody back.
Yeah.
So I'm reading his article. It was his article post-firing of Daryl Morey. And I'll read you 2 paragraphs.
Okay, tell it to me.
As far as the roster construction task ahead, there's multiple massive positives. Tyrese Maxey is a 25-year-old superstar, lead guard, and VJ Edgecombe just had a fantastic rookie season alongside him. Joel Embiid and Paul George each played integral parts in the Sixers' historic comeback from a 3-1 series deficit against the Celtics in round 1 of the playoffs. Even with the age, injury, and contract concerns surrounding George and Embiid, it's a strong group. All options should be on the table for whoever steps into Morey's shoes, but the Sixers situation would not appear automatically hopeless if the team built around the same foursome.
Okay,
you can't do it.
Did he sleep through the Knicks series?
I don't think so.
Because first of all, I would agree. But first of all, there's no such thing as massive positives.
And he goes on to write
massive positives.
He goes on to write if you get past those first 4 guys, then yeah, there's not a ton to like. But here's the deal. The reason why there's not a ton to like is because all of your resources are going to Paul George and Joel Embiid's contracts.
They're in the worst cap situation of any team in the NBA.
Yeah, so like I can't say that.
No.
And that's why after game 1, when the Sixers got crushed by the Knicks, you and I came on this show and said, hey, by the way, that Celtics series was really fun, but it was the first round. If they lose this series in 5, people's jobs should not be safe.
And 2, we wanted to see they can't play like they did in game 1. Let's bounce back and
they showed fight.
And they did in game 2. They did.
But come on, no. 3 and 4 happened. I'm gonna. Those 2 paragraphs made me sick. I'll be honest with you. They made me sick to my stomach.
Can I say something? And I'm just saying something. Is that I will. How about this? I will say it, and I'll say it in a context that people can understand.
All right.
One of my best people I've known in media, and I went to college with him, and I love him. He's a great dude, is Dave Spadaro. Dave Spadero's covered the Eagles for 4 decades. I mean, seriously, it seems like. And Dave covered them as a reporter at Westchester Daily Local News, then joined the Eagles as their in-house reporting and everything like that. There's certain things you can do when you're a partner, when you're covering teams. And I think some of the coverage we get is always done with a skew on that it's got to be sort of slanted positive. To me, that's a pie in the sky look at things that doesn't exist.
Like I almost read it as it was the rest of the team's fault.
Yes, that's a perfect way to put it.
And hey, 5 years ago, sure.
Yes. If you wanted to write that that long ago, fine.
Because it was. It was. 5 years ago, it was when, you literally, anytime Embiid went to the bench, they were a minus 50. You know what I mean? That's true.
Yes.
That argument's dead.
That's dead. And by the way, that's not playing right now. That's not playing right now with this fan base after last week, after what we just lived with. No.
Massive positives. I felt sick reading that. I'm excited for Maxey and Edgecombe. I still think there's limitations with Maxey. I think you're going to have to find a wing player that can really carry a lot of the bulk. And unfortunately, Embiid is not there anymore. Paul George is not there anymore. And the problem is, when you're talking about the rest of the team, well, where do you think the money is? It's at 2 guys that are killing you.
Oh, my gosh.
I was grossed out when I read that.
Can't do it.
Sorry, Noah.
Sorry, dude.
No. But I can't. I don't want that being a thing for Sixers fans. You know what? He's on to something. Because we just did that with the Phillies 7 months ago. And we're celebrating that they're 2 games under 500 in May, John. That they've dug out of a hole. All right, coming up next.
Well done.
Thank you. I didn't even tell you about this. We're going to add a new weekly feature to the show.
Really?
We talked about it off air weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
It was supposed to be today.
Oh, really?
But, Daryl Morey getting fired kind of changes fun talk. We'll start tomorrow, though. And we need all of your help. Those of you listening. Kincade Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic. 8:48 here on Kincade and Salciunas 97.5 The Fanatic. Hurry up, Sean. Run. All right, we're going to ask for your help starting tomorrow weekly, unless obviously big news breaks like Daryl Morey getting fired.
Yes.
We'll let you know in about a minute, but it is officially official. A little over 40 minutes ago, the Eagles-Jags game, Week 5, October 11th in London. They're playing at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Come on, you Spurs. I was a one-game Spurs fan. I did one of those tests.
I remember.
To figure out which Premier League team I should be a fan of.
Ant was trying to get you to commit?
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, sure, I'll try. And then I watched like 7 minutes of the game, and I was like, I freaking hate this.
You were a little bored.
I'm sorry. It's just not my sport, man. It's not my cup of tea.
Well, cup of tea is strange because that's what the people who watch it,
that's
what
they
like.
What they drink in London. So Zach Berman heard that the Eagles had shown interest in playing overseas this year as long as it was a road game this time. Because remember, when they played in Sao Paulo, they lost the home game.
They got 9 home games, so they don't want to mess with one.
So Jeffrey Lurie's all excited. It's a road game, and as you pointed out earlier, you'd rather play in London in early October than Jacksonville.
More importantly, too, you're playing one of the teams. The Jags are a team that is an up-and-coming team. That was a playoff team last year.
Yep.
I'll play a playoff team that I'm supposed to play on the road, play at a neutral site anytime.
Hell yeah.
Neutralizes that. Yeah, it's fine with me.
Damn
Plus, it's going to be like a home game for the Eagles.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
I mean, come on now.
PhillySportsTrips.com, brother.
It's going to be great.
All right, starting tomorrow.
Official travel partner of the Eagles.
Damn right. Start tomorrow, and it will most likely be on Wednesdays moving forward. It was supposed to start today, but Daryl Morey gets fired. Thanks a lot, Sixers.
Thanks, Sixers.
Now that, the Sixers playoffs are over and the Flyers playoffs are over and we have some time until football season resumes, we're going to do debate day every single Wednesday. But you will be giving us the topics to debate. And what we want mainly is the most recent thing that you were debating with your wife, your buddies at the bar, whatever it is. And it doesn't have to be sports. Like, obviously, one example could be who's better, Jordan or LeBron. But let's not do that one because that's done
yes, please not
so many times. But, like, what's the most recent thing, John, that you were debating with a buddy of yours? You're at the golf course, and you guys were debating. Could be which TV series was better, The Wire or Breaking Bad, or what movie franchise is better.
The Wire is the answer.
I agree with you.
The Wire is the answer, absolutely, on that one. The last thing, how about this, is it got into it yesterday. I was being called no fun police. Sean Rodman was out at it. I said, I know I'm going to be annoyed Sunday at the last round of the PGA Championship with the people who are a-holes on the golf course watching an event that have to do you're the man!
Oh, yeah.
In the hole!
Yeah, I don't get that at all.
The jerks at the golf course. And one of my buddies is like, oh, my gosh, you're like the no fun police. That is so much fun. And I'm like, why is it fun for you that someone acts like an a-hole? Like, doesn't know how to conduct themselves at an event. Why do you find the person who just acts like an a-hole to be like that? That's really like so much fun. How about just like everybody enjoy the event and just do it? Now, if you're going to the Waste Management Open,
yeah, it's different.
In Phoenix,
that's literally the vibe.
That's the thing. It's have some fun and do and clown around.
Right.
But I know we're going to have some of that out in Landview on Sunday, so we'll see what happens.
So tomorrow, we'll call for them. I mean, look, if you have a debate now that you want to tweet at us, because I wouldn't send it to the text line now because we'll miss it by tomorrow.
Like you always say the things that bother me. They'd be perfect.
Yeah,
the things that bother me.
So
there's no such thing as a chicken cheese steak.
Right.
There's no steak in a chicken cheese steak, so I hate the name.
So the point of this is we settle your debate. Like whatever you were debating with your buddies or a spouse or your kid, we settle it. Or we could be split and you're just on the right side of history with me and you're on the wrong side of history with John. But then it could lead to more debates throughout the course of the show. So it's debate day. Look, we'll still have our sports topics and everything.
Right,
but
it'd be just a silly one.
Yeah, like me and my buddies were arguing over this. Can you settle it for us? And we might be able to settle it, or we will further the debate because
we could.
That does not mean that we will necessarily be eye to eye on those things. So that starts tomorrow. All right.
No questions asked.
All right.
I love that.
We have Middays with Marks coming up next, by the way. And I saw Johnny Marks and Sean Brace both put out their reaction videos. Sean was begging for this to happen, for Daryl Morey to be fired. I saw him put out the check for step one of the Sixers offseason was to move on from Daryl Morey.
Does he have a committed step two, or are we going to find that out today?
That's a good question.
Because I would like to know that. Sean Brace, I saw the step one check. I want to know if Sean Brace has a step two that is his definitive step two. I have a step two.
I'm going to guess it's trading Embiid.
I think it has to be.
He made that pretty clear that he wants that to be done.
I think it has to be trade Embiid. Because I don't think until you – honestly, it's the second consecutive year you had to have players going to management saying, this guy doesn't know how to act, doesn't know how to do things like the rest of us. Team player-only meetings with management. Enough's enough. Get it out of there. That's a bad culture. That's bad for the culture.
Maybe the team wants to keep him around, though.
They might, but the other,
what Tony told us earlier, man.
And the thing is, you can love a guy and hate working with them. Hate the way they work. Hate their unprofessionalism. But love the person and think the person they're a sweetheart. They're a nice guy, but they're a jackass. Second consecutive year that the Sixers have had to have players-only meetings about Joel Embiid. It's enough. Enough's enough.
Yep. So that comes your way next. Johnny Marks, by the way, thinking he reads the tea leaves a little bit about why Nick Nurse is still here too.
Ooh.
Which it's not a far-fetched thought to have as to why Nick Nurse survived.
I'll be interested to hear.
So that comes your way next. Sean, great job.
Thank you, Sean.
What's the deal the rest of the week? We have Austin producing tomorrow.
Austin tomorrow.
And Nick Earnshaw.
Because you're going to Florida to play golf, right?
Yes.
Everybody on the show takes vacation.
You're going to great golf, by the way.
Yes. I've been there a couple times now.
Oh, you rich boy.
I would say that.
Yeah.
Who's paying for it?
Remember, he
I
did
got
go.
a good deal.
He did go to a Sixers and Flyers playoff game back-to-back nights.
That was also thanks to my lovely girlfriend.
Have a great time.
I'm just very lucky.
That's going to be great golf.
Everybody have a great day. We'll be back at it tomorrow. See you.
Now,